Bow. Hey, welcome back to the trumpet. Y'all tell me if that music's weird. I love the song I was listening to. I'm gonna let some people do it. Can y'all hear that? Such a great song. I feel it in the room. You hear that? Somebody needs a breakthrough. Can y'all hear me okay? I just want to check and see if that music's bothering anybody. I just want to let the room build up a little bit. Y'all come in. Let me know if my voice is good. Is the music okay? This band is Southbound. I've been listening to them. I personally know this guy. Amazing. So glad y'all could join. So glad. Thank you so much for joining us Wednesday. Tell me if that music's too loud. We're getting ready to get in as soon as this music is a tad too loud. You know what? This is the first time I've ever done it. And I'm going to turn that down. You know, I love that song. I was sitting there listening to it. And we're getting ready to go into this Jubilees chapter 14. And that's the first time I've ever done that. I've got that same microphone over there and all. And me and Jill are getting ready to start doing, our thing together with almost like a podcast type deal because me and Jill just love working together. I want to double check that my audio is coming through, and then I'm going to take these headphones off. And did you print that 110 page thing? You know what? I printed it out and glued each one of the pages together, and it made a scroll that was, I don't know, it was like 100 feet long. And me and Addie, my granddaughter, we got out there and rolled it out in the parking lot and all that stuff, and the wind caught it, and we were sitting there flying this 100-foot long scroll, and it was all parchment. I love making stuff like that. There's one right behind me, right there, behind that creepo picture right there. But we love you. I love you. You're awesome. You're awesome. I love y'all so much. I love doing this. I keep looking. I keep trying to see if my volume's coming through. Y'all tell me, because y'all know I'm deaf. This ear don't even work. You're awesome. Yeah, perfect. It's so good. There's 200 people in the room. Yeah, great, man. You know what? I love it. And y'all can tell me I'll start sweating. There's Gigi Six-Pack. That's my moderator, my wife, and she is just my angel, and she is the support that is with me, that two sticks can't stand, that three things stand, and that me, her, and the Lord, three things can stand. Two can't stand. And, they'll fall over. And that's what I always think about my wife. And I made these little bracelets and all that stuff. I can't wait to get into some of the pictures that I have for you. It is just, chapter 14 is an amazing story, just amazing story about Abraham and when he makes Ishmael, and we're getting ready to read that. It's just the best story in the world. And the next two chapters in the book of Jubilees, in the year of Jubilees, that is going to be, is where they create Isaac and they get circumcised in the heart. Oh, that is such a great part coming up in like the next week or so. And I've had such a good time reading the book of Jubilees to y'all at the Jubilee year and over the next weeks and weeks. And I'm glad that you printed that whole thing out because you can read ahead and you know the kind of work that I'm having to do if you printed the book of Jubilees out that I have. It's free. If you go to my bio page, go to the link tree and on my bio page, and you can download that right there. It'll download the study guide. But there's all kinds of, I just ate my dinner. I was doing everything I could. I will show you. I got if you'll go to, that's not it. I love y'all so much. I'm getting ready to show you this needle right here. They think it's Cleopatra's needle. It's actually something else. It's sitting in Central Park or something like that. Vanderbilt bought this. the pictures that I'm going to be going over with y'all at the end of class, these were in place before Solomon's temple, before Moses, all of that. This thing was in place. And it asked this question, what did it say? It said like, are you, do you believe in the God that controls the earth or something like that? I've got it for you. I got it right up here, but I got to get close to my lessons. And, I want to tell you something. I want y'all to know that, like one of my live 13, it didn't get loaded because it got restricted because of probably something to do with talking about the crucifixion or what have you. So I just want you to know that I'll screen record that and I'm putting it on my new webpage. And because if we're just getting started, and this book, as the sons of men start to spread out in the world, they become wicked. And I'm going to tell you something. It knocked that one down right there. I had 1 million hits on that one right there, 970,000 hits in one day. And it knocked it right down to, just wasn't on the FYP page. In one day, it almost hit 1 million hits. And I'm like going, okay, hot dog. I get it. And it just said that you got some time to talk about that. And that was another one. I can't wait to talk about the book of Jubilees. I went to go find out where I've got pictures of that and my webpage and all of my works. So if y'all go to my bio page right there and then go to the link tree, right in the link tree is chapter 14 of the book of Jubilees, and you can print this off for free. And somewhere right around in there is, let's see, thousands of people have seen that. 996,000 people saw it. We'll go right there. We're going to the book of Jubilee. This is the cover page of it. You'll know it, print it off. And this is a great lesson, but you can just tell I got 1 billion pictures in here that I just can't wait to get lost talking about the last pope. Oh my gosh, the things I found out. I couldn't put them in. I did 2 ticks. They're like a minute long. And I was like I got to go live just and get that off my chest because that was too much. The Melchizedek scroll code is for my subscribers, and on the link tree, if you're one of my subscribers, I will. You'll be able to access all of that stuff right there. And let me see. I'm going to show you something. There. This is what you're downloading right now, and the Melchizedek scroll and all that stuff. You can go down and download the book of Jubilees, which is it's the whole book of Jubilees. And then these are the study guides that we've been going through for the last 13 weeks. And we've come on every Wednesday. And these are all things. You can also download them right there off my link tree. So that's what I want to get started. We're going to go right there. I have a picture of the original. We're reading the book of Jubilees, and Moses received them here. Moses received the book of Jubilees right here, and this is Mount Sinai. This picture was taken in the late 1800s. This is where we get the book of Jubilees from, right here. That's the altar where they built the golden calf and all that stuff. And actually, if you read that book, if they didn't build a golden calf, it walked out of the fire. So that's because they put all their like earrings and stuff into it. But that's Mount Sinai right there. And where I was going. If you're one of my subscribers, these are the pictures that are going to be locked. I unlocked the first 7. I've got 10 more that I'm going to be putting in there. I'm currently working on them right now. It is Mount Sinai, Cleopatra's needle. This right here is one of the oldest books, and it almost feels like the book of Jubilees to me, because that's just I just love that. I love, the book of Jubilees is a Dead Sea Scroll, and I wouldn't be reading something to you that wasn't founded and proved. And they found as many copies of the book of Jubilees in the Dead Sea Scrolls as they did of Genesis and Exodus. And they also found Enoch 1 in there and that many copies of it. So the book of Jubilees and the book of Enoch 1 were just as many copies of that in the Dead Sea Scrolls as Genesis and Exodus. So keep that all in mind. And that's what we're going to do. These are some more pictures. I will go through these. I promise you're going to love this. We were at a place. Oh, what's his name? You can read it better than I can. Elisha. That's the dude that got taken up into heaven. This is his, what you call that pool that you get in? And that's his fountain, but it's sort of like one of those eternity pools. That's Elijah's eternity pool in there. Y'all gonna love those pictures. I have to do some stuff to them, and then I promise you I will post them. And if you go to my link tree, it's right there. If you go to my link tree, you can go see my new website right there. I got to tell you, I'm super excited about my new website. I put a lot of work into that. Go to my link tree, click on my website. It is... as soon as you click on it, see it says thetrumpet33-3.com. This will come and you can download all of my stuff right there too, as soon as you go to my website. And it's really cool, man, because I've got my stories, my testimonies, my stories. I put a lot of stuff in there like that. And then I put a lot of work into this. It's got all my work. And if you like the things and you want to take a deeper dive into some of the lessons, they're right there. I also have pictures of the Bibles that I make and how you can buy one of those lambskin Bibles. If you ever wanted to buy one, just let me know. And they're on my website. You can buy that lambskin Bible. I also have these scrolls. There's the Enoch scroll right there. I made it. And that Bible, that lambskin, that's all the Apocrypha. I'll tell you all that stuff. Yeah, that's got the Apocrypha and all the books of the Apocrypha in it. And it doesn't have Jubilees or Enoch 1 because they're not in there. And I hand make all those. So it takes about 2 weeks for me to create that. And they are an individual little piece of art. So I wanted to get that, and you can go right back to that bio page and click off. Down there on my link tree is chapter 14, and that's where we're going. I promise you, we're going to go there. Let me get this and start reading because I got so many things I want to touch base with in this. I do it. I go to the lesson. Click on the book. That's page 1. That's page 1 right there. All right. Thank you so much for putting up with me. And I love these lessons. And it says on the link tree and all that thousands of people print off these lessons. I just want to I'm interested in your work because when y'all say something to me, man, y'all are the ones that say stories to me and I go down a rabbit hole. I hope I am a rabbit hole starter for y'all in the Christian sense. And, but I think that all of this stuff, he rolled away the stone and like the Dead Sea Scrolls are out. And that's what we're going to be talking about right here. I included this because this one picture right here, and all of my pictures are going to be they're going to be over 100 or something years old so that I can use them. And this is a sketch plate from Dore, and in my link tree is some of my Amazon links, and these sketches and all are there. But if you print out each one of the lessons, like what I did right here, this is the first 13 lessons, and this is like a book. Each chapter is about 6 pages, and each there's 50 chapters, so it's going to end up being like a 300-page book. I hope you're building that book with me, because the way it is, it's going to end up being about a 300-page book of Jubilees, and it is Genesis and Exodus, the books of Genesis and about half the book of Exodus, but it talks about the life of Moses and how he received these books on Mount Sinai. And right now we're in the chapter that's talking about Abraham and how he visited, Yahweh visits him in a dream and tells him how he's going to be rich and famous and father of many nations. And that's why I included that picture. Abraham he went to Hebron in the last chapter. He went to Hebron and he had, he was rich. And Hebron, we learned, was already built. So the fact that Hebron was already built, like the city of Nineveh, which is where, what's his name went? Jonah. They were already built, so they survived the flood. Hey, that's Katie Nicole right there. I love her to death. She's one of my moderators, and she asked me some questions. She's a little rabbit hole digger, too. And she starts all that stuff, and then I have to go find out, and then I go, ooh, look, a squirrel, and then I'm gone. And so I want to read this part about Yahweh. This is going to be when God comes and talks to him. And when they're talking about in the new month of the third month, they're talking literally right about now or between now and next month is when this is happening. And it just so coincides that as we're going through, we're almost like in the months that it should be. And that these things are happening. So this is Abraham, and I'm going to start reading right there at the top and get us off this first page right here. I love everything have you available to print on your link tree, printed, hole punch, and labeled. That's so cool. I'm going to tell you something. I glue my stuff together. You can go buy this off of Amazon. Stop. You can go buy this right here. It doesn't stain. This was $7. I bought this about 2 years ago. Okay. And all you gotta do is touch a dot there and a dot there and a dot there and let it set up in like 5 minutes. And then just smear some more on it and you glue them. And once you glue a couple of them, then you bind them together. And you ever like tore the back off of a book? It looks just like that. So that's what we're doing is I'm gluing the chapters. You can punch the holes in it. They'll go right into, you won't even see them in the middle of that stuff. But if you want to build a book with me, we're going to build one just like this, and it'll be about that thick. And it'll be bound like that, glue bound. That's that glue. It's called PVA neutral glue. Go get you some of that stuff. You'll ask the kids around here. I don't even use a stapler or anything, man. I just boop, 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 and I make a book real quick. I love your videos. I love your videos. I love y'all is what I do, and thank y'all for giving me this opportunity to tell you what I know about the Book of Jubilees and the things that I'm finding out in the Jubilee year that's so important. So I'm glad I've got this opportunity, but I wanted to make a point that the things that are happening now with the things that are happening all over the world and with different people, I'm not sure of the stability of any of these things. I do know that's why I created a website, and I want you to know that in my link tree is the first link on there is my website. And all my link tree, all my stuff is on my website. I'm putting it on there. If anything ever happens to this or happens to YouTube or whatever, go there. And Facebook, I can tell you, I lost 148,000 followers on Facebook because of a tanglement I got into with somebody on my page. And it was the Trumpet page, but it wasn't under my personal name. And they sort of tricked me into that they were going to help me get onto the celebrity show, and they pretended that they were one of his personnel. And I'm not going to say who or what it was. I was really impressed. And they had a Gmail account. And by the time I could put 2 and 3 together, they had tangled up the account enough to where all I could do was shut it down. So just know that the people are out there. And when I finish reading, this is 4 or 5 pages of the Book of Jubilees, I'm going to blow up the next pope. Trust me, that's what this is going to be about. Is I've got so many pictures, you're just not going to believe what I found today. Literally, it was about 4 o'clock, and I said, I got to do a tick. And I did another tick, and I don't even know where it's going because of the traffic that they're sort of limiting me because I got like 1 million hits on that other tick. And when you say something real good, they don't like it, and they'll take it down, and they'll mess with you. That was where I was going. I don't know how I got so sidetracked, but then again, y'all probably know me and know that about me. I have to push the buttons. But y'all go to that website right there. It's the Trumpet 33-3. And all of my stuff is there. Page 1. All right. Doom of destructions. They are trying to bring down believers. Praise the Lord. I know they're trying to bring down the believers. I guarantee you that. And if I hit a TikTok and I tell y'all some good news, because a lot of people like, hey, are you saying this or are you saying that? No, I'm not saying anything in particular, dude. I'm a trumpet or whatever. I'm a trumpet. And like y'all, not y'all, I'm a watchman. So, like, I'm up in the tower, and I see some stuff going by, and I'm like going, hey, you know what? They sort of told me to blow the trumpet every time I see something and not really judge what that is or see if it's going to hurt anybody or go identify it or go pat it down or whatever. I'm a trumpet. I'm a watchman. Now, if the dude watching the wall with the trumpet that's telling you, hey, there's something outside of the camp, if he ran outside the camp and went to go identify that thing and it was like, hey, guess what? I'm actually a bear. Boom. And it killed him. Then the thing that was going to alert you, the watchman, he's done. And that's what I blow the trumpet and I say, hey, there's something right out here, right? I see it coming and y'all should look at it. Now, if you got, I don't need that information, gone down. Ezekiel 33:3 says, when I see the sword fall upon the land, I blow the trumpet and warn the people. Man, 33:4 says, and if I blow the trumpet and you don't do anything, your blood is on your own hands. And then 33:5 says that if I don't blow the trumpet and you get hurt, then your blood is on my hands. So I'm blowing the trumpet and I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing, and I don't need to, hey, are you saying this? No, I'm blowing the trumpet. I'm giving you the information. I put it right up behind me. You go look at it. You go look at the thing and see if you're worried what's outside the wall, because it's outside the wall. And it is outside the walls right now. And if you don't see this stuff going on and the things with the last pope and the things that are happening right now, it is not only scripted, but I see it. So I can tell you, I hope that you do too. All right, I'm going to get started. I promise you. This is Yahweh, and he comes to Abram in a dream. Y'all see, I got a picture right there. And after these things, in the 4th year of this week, in the new month of the 3rd month, the word of Yahweh came to Abram in a dream, saying, fear not, Abram. I am your defender, and your reward will be exceedingly great. And he said, Yahweh Almighty, what will you give me, seeing I go hence childless? And the son of Meschi, the son of my handmaid, is the Damask Eliezer. And I think that's the dude that's going to be king if he doesn't have another kid. And sort of like a bastard, like a Jon Snow type dude. And then he's going to have Jon Snow in here in just a minute. He calls him Ishmael. And he will be my heir, and to me you have given no seed. All right, so, and then he said to him, this man will not be your heir, but one that will come out of your own bowels, he will be your heir. Now, I'll tell you something. That's if you get into a conversation with Muslim people, they think that Ishmael is the dude that got offered by Abraham. And we, as Christians and Hebrew-oriented people, think that Isaac, his brother, is the one. Now, it says in the Holy Bible, and I haven't looked at the verses, but I'll tell you in the next week, because that's when we start talking about Isaac, it says in the Holy Bible that Isaac is his only son. And It says that very clear, but that can start some entanglement, and I don't like to do that, man, because I want everybody to hear this and read this. I bought a car from somebody, and the dude was Muslim, and when I told him about that and Ishmael and Isaac and all, he was raised and just knew that it was. Thought that it was Isaac, and I was like, "Oh, you better go check with your Muslim boys about that." And I think it broke his heart because they didn't teach him that piece. Hey, thank you for the subscribers. Thank you, Amy, for the subscribers and the people. I don't even know if I set my goals and stuff like that. I just try to do those things, but I'm horrible at it. And thank you so much for your subscribing. That's what I spent hours making these things and these lessons, and that's what is sort of paying me. And I tell you what, I want to be a subscriber so that I can pay $5 a month and somebody will print this lesson and give this to me every Wednesday. That would be cool. That's a deal. Hey, let me finish reading. I do. I love y'all. Is there any questions? Where are we reading? We are reading in the book of Jubilees, chapter 14, and we do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And if you'll go to my bio page right up there and click on that, and then it'll say my link tree right there on the front, and you can download this study guide that we're reading right now and print it off for yourself or read right along. But this is the book of Jubilees, and it's a Dead Sea Scrolls, and this is the Jubilee year, and here we are. And this is what they call the Lesser Genesis. But if you ask anybody that's been in this class, and they're the ones that stay for the front and the class of it, I have in no way, has anybody out there thought that this is a lesser version of Genesis? Has anybody even been in any of my classes think that this is a lesser version? No, it can't be. There's no way. It's just this is not the lesser Genesis, man. This is definitely not the lesser version, man. This has got Cain and Abel's sisters and who Cain and how his house fell in on him and the first OSHA accident in the world. And here, let me get reading. I'm going to put my head over there. And he brought him forth abroad, and he said to him, look toward heaven, and number the stars if you are able to number them. And he looked toward heaven and beheld the stars, and he said to him, so shall your seed be. And he believed in Yahweh, and it was counted to him for righteousness. That's so cool. That's so cool. And, a lot of people want to know where the book of Jubilees came from. A lot of people say, is it canonized? The canonization of something is the one that tells you who wrote it. And at the very first page of it, it tells you that he wrote it on Mount Sinai. God wrote it and gave it to Moses while he was up there for 40 days. And he gave him that and the commandments. And you're so right. This is just not the lesser version. I'm going to turn to the next page and see what it is. Ah, yeah. Go. This is so cool. Finally get to use my pictures. So as I'm having to take these pictures, and they were taken in the late 1800s, and this is and the text and all that stuff, now I can use them in these books and these study guides, and they're so cool. They're so cool. I had to take them out of the book and take that whole section out, and it's like, I don't know, 50 or 60 of them. There's 50 pages, so there may be 100. And, oh my gosh, they're just literally before the Sphinx was even undug, the pyramids, got a cat right here, and then, dang, it looks like it's got a point on it. No, I can't see. But look at this thing. It does sort of look like it goes up to a point. It's an incredible picture. It says in the language that came with the picture that he sits over a necropolis, and that means that there's a graveyard. So there's the entrance to a graveyard right there, and he's going to, at the beginning, goes, I brought you out of Ur of Chaldees, and where they worship these idols. These people right here, Egypt, and he starts talking about the heifer right here. I got that. I always take the pictures of my study guide because I God, this is where we're at right there. And he said to him, I am Yahweh. I got a question. Good grief, I'm just now correlating and understanding the canological correlation. You know what? The canological. Let me read this first. Oh, it's going to be in the first one. Oh, man. Let me read this to you. Let me tell you where we're coming from. Canological. This is the first study guide. Go download the first study guide. This is the top. This is the first verse, the first page. I'll read it to you. And it came to pass in the first year of the exodus of the children of Israel out of Egypt, in the 3rd month of the 16th day of the month, and in a moon day, and that means after man was created, that Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, come up to me on the mount, and I will give you 2 tables. That's so cool. I will give you 2 tables of stone of the Torah, which is the word, and of the commandment of which I have written. Who? Come up to me on the mountain, and I will give you 2 tables of stone of the Torah and of the commandment which I have written, that you may teach them. Yeah. How about that? That's what Moses. And Moses went up into the mountain. David went into the mountain, into the well of souls and all that stuff. And Moshe went up into the mountain of Yahweh, and the splendor of Yahweh abode on Mount Sinai, and a cloud overshadowed it 6 days. And he called to Moshe on the 7th day out of the midst of the cloud, and the appearance and splendor of Yahweh, and was like unto a flaming fire on top of the mountain. And Moshe was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, and Yahweh taught him the earlier and the later history of the division of all the days of the Torah and of the testimony. Okay, the Sanhedrin took that out of the Bible in 150 BC. They said, it doesn't match our Babylonian calendar that we follow. It's a 354-day calendar that follows the moons, and it has all these things. And that, like the 7th book, 7th chapter, tells you exactly that we have a 364-day calendar and the day of celebration, and it tells you exactly how to break it down perfectly. And the Sanhedrin, which are the people that actually got gobbled up in the desert after Moses, they sort of revitalized themselves. 70 people. That's why you see 72 all over the place. That was the 70 members of the Sanhedrin that got gobbled up in the sand. And also, to sort of reflect off of it, Jesus sent out 70. He sent the 70 out. So that's what that number is. But it's all through the capital. You'll see 70 around the top of it. There's 70 reefs around there, and there's 70 just all over the place. Wow, you know what? So crazy. I'm just stupid. I just get off on a tangent, and I don't know what it's called. It's like OCD, but I need to think of some Christian terminology that just, because I'll start talking, and that's what people like going, you need to be on a podcast. And I'm like going, I won't shut up. I mean, I will. I love talking to y'all. 13 and 70. 13 and 70. 13 was Jesus, and he was the 13th. He would have had them all in front of it. You know, Judas, he was the guy that held the bag. He was the dude that held their money. You all see all these Babylonians and the dudes, and they're walking around carrying a little bag and all that stuff like these guys, and it shows the Mesopotamian people. The holder of the bag, Judas was the keeper of the bag. So I just know his little doubled-up buzz going on with him keeping a bag. Oh, 40 is the one that that gets all the time too, because there's like 40 days and 40 nights, and there was there were 40 pillars that hold up the dome of the U.S. Capitol, and those 40 pillars go around George Washington's grave that is supposed to be under a glass vault in the ground. And he never got buried there. And then above that is the dome, and on the dome is the apotheosis of Washington, wherein which he is seen, painted, ascending into heaven as a god. So, yes. And he was a big Freemason. And, you know, I don't want to dig no big hole. These dudes right here, these are masons. And those dudes that chip stone, they have polluted it. And it says that in the Bible. It says if you raise a tool upon a stone, you have polluted it. And that's what's going to strike down the whole Masonic thing. But that would explain Jesus already knew. So Judas was leaving us. What that would explain how Jesus already knew. So Judas leaving us was... Jesus knows everything, man. He is God. And he knew that. JD, I love you so much, man. You have the best comments. I didn't even look to see who it was. And I should have known it was you because you're one of the smartest people out there. And you have the best comments. I should podcast with you and just have somebody come on because I got some things about the Guyon Springs and I need somebody that can walk into the water. Just like the book of Ezekiel said, walk out into the water farther and measure it and all that stuff. Dude was in Guyon Springs, right out the Eastern Gate. So me and JD ought to do that. Talk to you on the phone. Hey, I tell you what, on my website, it's got a cool thing too now, and you can ask questions and all. There's another way to ask me questions on there, and it's like, hey, like one of them things that says, can we help you? But it's actually just sends an email to that Trumpet email. So if you get an email back from me or you get anybody talking to you and they say, hey, I'm Greg or I'm this or whatever, and it doesn't come from my webpage and my website and my website, don't answer that. I would never call y'all and ask you for money. I never would send out a TikTok. I never would say, hey, join my da-da-da-da-da. You'll see this where I say ask for a subscription. Please do. I want you to. I will never solicit out a mass solicitation and ask anybody for any money. I won't. If you want to give me something, I certainly appreciate it. I operate on those things and these gifts and this right here. And I'm also a big roofing contractor too. I'm not a big roofing contractor. As a matter of fact, I don't have hardly any work to do. But it's tight, man. It's tight all over. And I'm never going to stop doing this. So I'm going to keep doing this. And if I don't make it in this, I'll fail. And that's all there is to it. But I know I'm not. Because somebody just bought one of my Bibles. You know what? I can't wait to... Let me take a break. Let me show you this. This, I sold one of those Bibles. If you want a handmade Bible, I just want you to know. This is the Apocrypha Bible. It's 6 inches thick. Weighs 12 pounds. It is all 24-pound parchment paper. And this one's in gold parchment. But this has all of the pictures of that 1839 Bible, all the maps. It has the maps in it and all. And I hand make this. And you can see where I hand paint it. All the edge are all, I didn't paint the edge of each page, but it's all handmade. And I make these things long so that you can not only save 3 different places, but it's long enough to where you could wrap it back up and save 6 places. So my son taught me that. He was like, make that thing, deep breath. I'll take that advice. I will. How's that? This is a piece of lambskin that I am going to wrap around that Bible. And I just got this and I just dried it. I had to not launder it, but wet it so that it gets all the wrinkles out of it. I'm glad you told me to take a deep breath. I get excited talking about this stuff. I do. And it's a lot. But if you ever want me to make you a Bible or something like that, I will. Does that have lost books too? Yeah, it has all of the, I'll tell you something. It has all the, it doesn't have Enoch or Jubilees. But let me tell you what it does. A long list. Book of Wisdom, that's in there. Prophecy of Baruch. Ezekiel, Daniel, Jonas, in there. Prophecy of Zechariah, the 1st and 2nd Maccabees. It has that in it as well. A couple of OC, I believe, is not in there. And the way that it calls some of these things, 1st and 2nd Samuel, and then there's the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd book and 4th book of Kings. So that's the way they renamed it. They didn't come up with names until like the 19 something. They started. What is your favorite Bible verse? Wherever 2 or more gather in the name of the Lord, there He is in their midst. And that's one of the ones that I use all the time. Where 2 or more gather in the name of the Lord, there He is in their midst. That means that right now He's here with us. And my other one is on these $2 bills that I put. And that one says that you can't put new wine into an old wineskin. You have to put new wine into, you can't put new wine into an old wineskin. You have to put new wine into a new wineskin, or you'll ruin the wineskin and the wine. And when I try to shove the book of Jubilees onto Jill's Pentecostal father, let's put new wine into an old wineskin, and you'll just bust the wineskin, and you'll ruin the wine too. And because he's just fine right where he has. Can you order a Bible on this webpage? You sure can order a Bible on that webpage. I'll go right there and show you exactly where you can go. And it's that one right there. If you go to my webpage, it's the trumpet33-3.com. And that's that Bible. That's got the lambskin on it. The Bible's designed to be laid open. If you want somebody to go build you a big, heavy cover and so that you can admire the outside of it, I don't do that. The Bible's designed to be written. I wrote it big enough so that you can read it standing back from it. And when it lays out, it just lays out like a lamb. And the link is on my webpage. It's right there. And if you go to my link tree, which is on my bio page, it'll take you to my webpage. And there's also like the book, the Enoch scroll. I like that. I made that. All that wood and stuff like that. Then I glue it together, and then it's a scroll. I love it. I do stuff like that. It's got all this old maps there. You can handmade, Lambskin, Bible. And then I have some other lessons and stuff I'm loading up. Then the story of how I became the trumpet. How the story of the trumpet. It's, no, you know me. I just had to do that. They started taking my stuff down, and they're literally taking down my Christian content. I know talking about the crucifixion is tough, and but if that is going to get me taken down, we're in trouble, man. This is the great tribulation that I feel like we're coming into. And the things that I plan on saying, I don't know, man. It's going to hurt some feelings. And it's probably going to be something that they're going to want to take down. And you can just go to my webpage right there, the trumpet33-3.com. And all of my stuff they give me, they take anything down, bow. So right there. And I don't know. You see all these big content creators, when they hit a strike and slap it completely out of the park, they'll get, content violation or something. And I got one the other day. After I went to 1 million hits, I got a content violation. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. I needed it. You know what? I was going to try to just take the shortcut way to this. Go to that page. No. Last week. Swear. Tell me to breathe again. One of y'all. Breathe. I didn't read this one. Thank you so much for y'all. Somebody's going to say, now, read. Go back to reading. Yeah, I get that one too. I guess on a podcast, it's more paced and you just get to talk, but I will. I love this picture, and I'm going to go. And he said to him, I am Yahweh that brought you out of Ur Chaldees. I have a problem saying that. I'm from Georgia. To give you the land of the Canaanites to possess it forever. And I will be a sovereign ruler unto you, to your seed, and after you. And he said, Yahweh Almighty, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said to him, take me a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took all these in the middle of the month, and he dwelt at the oak of Mamre. That's a real important thing. I'm going to tell you about the oak at Mamre. Those are the cool trees, which is near Hebron. In the first maps, if you go back to those maps, Hebron is one of the first places he was going, and it was already built, and he dwelt in Hebron, and he was pretty rich, and that's where Lot left him to go to Sodom and Gomorrah. We read that last week. And he built there an altar and sacrificed all these, and he poured their blood upon the altar and divided them in the midst and laid them over each other, but the birds divided he not. I don't know why I did that. And the birds came down upon the pieces, and Abram drove them away and did not suffer the birds to touch them. This is the second time that we're reading about Abraham driving away the birds. Abram, he's still Abram here, driving away the birds. And part of his name was the fact that his father Terah was putting the seeds in the ground. We learned this last week or the week before, that his father Terah was putting the seeds in the ground, and the crows would come and take the seeds away. So Abram got famous because he scared the crows off like 70 times in a day, and the seeds remained in the ground. And then literally last week or the week before, we read where Abraham made a plow and put the seeds in the dirt, and they made that up. Abram did that. So I'm going to breathe. I really enjoy your content. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wish I could just say everybody's names on here. There's a way, I guess, you could push the buttons and all that stuff. And I really would, because I love all of y'all. And thank you so much, Dober Mom. You must have a dog. You see Arlo have a little dog that would probably fit inside of a Doberman. Geez, push button. I think that's the right one. You would think that I didn't need to breathe like that, because I'm 60 years old and I'm pretty laid back. And I get excited about this stuff, man. I do. I get excited about talking about the Lord. And, all right, you got 3 Dobermans. Man, I tell you what, we had one, and his name was Hitler. And he was mean as a double-barrel rattlesnake. And we had rented that dog and from security people. And, man, I was in charge of putting that dog in and out. And one day he decided that he was going to eat me when I opened the gate. And I was scared to open the gate. So I went to my car and got my gun. And he knew I had that. Because, boy, he was wagging his tail when I walked back up there. I was like, you can go ahead and try that crap now. And but you know what? People, they know. He knew. He was a cool dog, but he just got mean one day. And then he found out, he was like going, I don't know what you walked up here all with your set sticked out for, but I'm going to give you a little break today. I love them dogs, man. But I have a little Yorkie poo, and I was a big dog guy, and I love my little Yorkie poo now. He went to the doctor today. He is 4 pounds. How about the 144,000? Who are those? Those are the ones that I think are pulled up in the first book. And, of judgment, the 144,000, and then the verses right after that, it says, and all those people with the white garments, those are the ones that came out of the Great Tribulation. So I believe that, when Jesus got out of the ground, I'll get off subject. I raise Yorkies. I tell you what, he's 4 pounds. He's a good dog. He's a good dog. All right, I promise, I'm going to go. Oh, this is great. And it came to pass when the sun had set, that means the devil right there, know it, because it says no good thing can happen in the dark, that an ecstasy fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And it was said to Abram, know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and they shall bring them into bondage, and afflict them 400 years. And the nation also to whom they will be in bondage will I judge. And after that they shall come forth thence with much substance. And you shall go to your fathers in Shalom, and be buried in a good old age. And in the fourth generation they shall return here. For the iniquity of all the Amorites is not yet full. And he awoke from his sleep, and he arose, and the sun had set, and there was a flame, and behold, a furnace was smoking, and a flame of fire passed between the pieces. Okay. That was the devil telling him, hey, you're getting ready to go. I know, I've got wow on that too. So he's speaking to the devil, came to him, and when he woke up, he saw that there was a flame. Go watch the House of David at the very beginning of, I think it's the next to the last thing. He wakes up from a dream, and the fire was where the footsteps of the evil thing was. And he wakes up and he sees the ground, and it was like it had fire. It was fire on fire, and then it just went out. And I was like, ooh, the devil just walked right by there. So, all right. And let me read this last verse right here. And you can tell when Yahweh, he's going to come back, and Yahweh's going to come in and say, ting. And on that day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your seed will I give this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river of the Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, and the Remphin. Ooh, those are the Remphin right there. That little word right there. Remphin. They're like the valley of Remphin. That's like where Goliath and all that stuff, man, they're giants. And the Pecherites, Phacherites, and the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashes. I don't know if that's Gilgamesh or Girgash, and the Jebusites. Listen, that's what we just studied about last week was Melchizedek, and he lived on Jeru, which turned into Jerusalem, and reset the goal, please. You set the goal, please. Well, set up a new goal. I'll set it up and confirm it. We have a new train. There should be trains. There will be trains. Oh my gosh, I don't even know if you can do that. Anyway, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that. And if anybody does that, I appreciate all the help that y'all give me. It's what, if I can do this for a little bit, man, I'll be able to, you can ask Jill, I almost went and kicked down somebody's church door today, man. They had all cars in the corner parking lot, counting the Easter cash. Sorry. And the doors were shut, man. Nothing going on. I'm like building should be open 6 days a week, bro. And resting on the 7th. But we were just talking about there's a train. Goodness gracious. Thank you so much for all of y'all's support. And thank you for that. All of the subscribers. I try to make it worth it for my subscribers. I am coming up with a great new piece of work. I always read to y'all from the book of Gad. Let me tell you. I always read to y'all from the book of Gad, and y'all love it. But I found out what it was that the guy that had the book, they get to put their commentary and the names and all this stuff, and I had to take all that out before I could give it to you. And I'm going to tell you something, man. That guy that named these chapters and the things, if he really knew what he was looking at, which I got an example of something that nobody's seen, he would have named these chapters just completely different. This is the book of Gad. I am uploading those pictures into it right there and the scriptures that make it back. And this is the first vision. And these pictures are in there. And this, man, that takes a lot of work. And I'm getting it. That's a big book. And but I'm going to be preaching to y'all the book of Gad, the book of Enoch 1. We are getting ready to start. I'm going to try to do Tuesdays, one class, Wednesdays, one, Thursday, what have you. But I want to do Enoch class like I'm doing this Jubilees class because we've had such a great success, man. I mean, 300 something people in this room. And it's just amazing the results that we get. And this is the word that was Daniel 12:9 tells us about. It says, "Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end." And I just believe that that's where we're at right there. And that's where we're at right there. Push the picture. Push it. I've got finished with this, and then we're going to talk about some of that stuff. Those pictures and all that stuff. Thank you so much for all of y'all's gifts. Let me go right back up here. Because this was sort of a short chapter. We just did that one. I don't read that? That one. That's the one I got to read right there. So he fell to sleep, and it was great horror, and I was telling y'all about the fire on the ground and all that stuff, and I read all the way through that, all the way down to the bottom. Back, click the next one. Bang. There it is. Thank you so much. Y'all can tell me to breathe again, too, because thank you. Thank you, Jesus. You know that song, Somebody Testify, I mean, the beginning of it says, "I can feel it in the room. Somebody needs a breakthrough." That song makes me cry every time I hear it, man. I was like, I can feel it in the room, man. Somebody needs a breakthrough. Right there. Let's read the top. It said again, "Thank you so much for your gifts." I'll play that song again in a minute. Then I'm going to play them pictures. When I get finished with this lesson and read the last little thing, I want to play that song, and then we're going to take off. And I get to go bananas, crazy. And I've got all the prophecy of the popes. I've got all of the pictures that I've downloaded. And I'm going to flash through all of that stuff and just barbecue those things for you right there. Beat your pie, read the top. And I know it's back behind the thing. I wish, I'm going to try to pull them down next time. I apologize. "And the day passed, and Abraham offered the pieces and the birds and their fruit offerings and their drink offerings, and the fire devoured them. And on that day we made a covenant." This is Moses received this word. Moses is the one that is, one of these angels. He's received that. And he says, "And we made a covenant with Abram." 3 angels meet with him. And when they use the word "we" in here, man, it just, yeah. "And we had a covenant with Noah on that day, and we made a covenant with Abram, according as we had made a covenant with Noah in this month. And Abram renewed the festival and ordinance for himself forever." "And Abram rejoiced and made all these things known to Sarah, his wife." She's not Sarah yet either. "His wife, and he believed that he would have seed, but she did not bear. And Sarah advised her husband, Abram, and she said, go into Hagar, my Egyptian maid." That I told you, no, right there. Because when they mix the blood and they mix it right there, they've made sure that they were all in the right bloodline. And here they're going to mix it right here, and that's Ishmael. He's the first one. And go into Hagar, my Egyptian maid, and it made that be that I shall build up a seed unto you by her. No, that was terrible decision. And but then again, it gave him the pictures that go with when he gets separated and all that stuff. Man, that's so good. "And Abram listened unto the voice of Sarah, his wife, and he said to her, do so. And Sarah took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian," they said that twice, "to give her to Abram, her husband, to be his wife. And he went in unto her, and she conceived and bare him a son, and he called his name Ishmael. In the 5th year of this week, 1965, I was born in 1964, 1965, after man was invented. And this was the 86th year in the life of Abram. You do know that next week is going to be all about the angels of the presence and the Malcolm coming to visit him and telling him he's going to have a son that's just going to be Isaac. And it's amazing. And then the next chapters or so is where he takes him up on top of Mount Moriah. And I want to see if I can play this again. Oh. Can y'all hear that? Y'all let me know. Southbound. Amazing. Somebody shout the name. Never heard of the book of Gad. Amazing book. Love that song. Somebody testify. We're going to do like a testify. Dude, this is Bethel. This is the altar that we just read about last week. I know, that is a great song. It's Southbound. And Clint Brown is, he's a Grammy-winning guy. He's a friend of ours. And Jill introduced me. He's a preacher right here in Orlando. And his band, Southbound, blows them up. They're on, they have their songs in the TikTok music shop. You can put on your stuff. Have one TikTok with it on there. It's like crazy. It is a beautiful song. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for my subscribers. I'm going to keep going through these pictures because these are the ones that I'm going to be giving to my subscribers. If you're one of my subscribers, go do that. And I'm working on these pictures. And I'll put a code in there, and my subscribers know what the code is. And you can just go through these pictures and have a field day with them. And they're literally, that was Elisha, man. He was the one that was drawn up to heaven. And it's just amazing. This is where Abram is. Abraham, this is their grave. And their wives are buried. Right there. What are these pictures? These pictures are from 1890, the Book of Life. And I took them out. And, gosh. You've already learned so much about TikTok. I've learned a lot about TikTok. Believe me, they'll take your work down in a minute. But this is where Abraham and his sons and wives are all buried right there. Southbound, man, y'all gotta listen to that. It's so good. It tears me up. Somebody shout the name. I want to see that. All right, I'll do it. I love y'all. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. I could play that song. They got a couple. God uses everything. Oh, my goodness. He uses big country boy to go preach the gospel in the book of Jubilees. So he uses everything. Old guy. Let me do that. Come on. This is any of my work that you want to download. Go to my website right there. The first thing that's going to pop up is that's all my work. It's a little pop-up screen, and all of my work is right there. All of my study guides, all of the Book of Jubilees, all of these things. If you go to my link tree right up there, this is where all my work is. And if you scroll down, there's like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, the Book of Giants, some of the tribulation things that I've done. I hope I'm doing pretty good with answering the questions and what have you too, because I'm terrible, sort of terrible at that. But it's getting ready to give me my little piece of puzzle up here that says that you've been on for 1 hour. But we got that lesson done, and now I can go tell you these things. Go to that website if you want any of those things that I make. That right there, that's my Bible. I make that. That's the Apocrypha. People ask me about it all the time. And that's the Apocrypha Bible. It has, it's got the Maccabees and all that at the end of it, man, where it starts talking about the pyramids that they built right outside of Jerusalem. And I hand make this, hand make these Bibles. And they are going to be made. That's the lambskin cover. I'm making one. Mr. Morris, he might be on here. I'm making his right now. And he ordered one of my Bibles the other day, yesterday, in the live. He was one of the first people to get one of these. And I handmade all of this and glued all this together and painted all this and put it all together. So there's an opportunity for you to own one of those Bibles. And that big one right there, I paid $1,500 for that thing, and I can't stand it. It has a cover that it's so big and heavy that they all break. You never find those Bibles that aren't broken. That one, I had to glue it back together. But it's just, those are designed sort of to not do well. And that's another Bible that I made right there. Hey, you know, these pieces of art right here on the floor, I'm going to show you something. Have you ever heard of Mark Chagall? He was a Jewish artist, and he painted these lithographs right here. And they don't know what series these lithographs came out of. I have a better picture of it. And you're gonna the story on this lithographs. I started quizzing the computer on some of these things. I promise you, I'll get to the prophecy of the popes. But this lithograph, I just pulled this out of the garage. This is the lithograph. Yeah. That's the other one right there too. This is Herod, and this is Salome's mother. And she talked Salome into dancing for Herod, and in the pleasure of the dancing for Herod, they asked for John the Baptist's head right there. And he did a lot of biblical art, and I just found these things, man. I mean, when I was in art school, my dad, I got these when I was like 20 years old. And there's a little bit better picture of it. And I got these when I was like 20 years old, and I've had them for 40 years. And I never really looked at them. These are all signed, lithographed images. These are all hand-signed. And he did this art to work his way back across. These, just to make a copy of these things, sell for hundreds of dollars, if not thousands. And these particular prints are expensive. I think they're like 30 grand or so. But you can just almost see, you know, that it's got the horns, you know that's Herod. And then I went into it and asked it what the writing was over his head, and it says a little hit. Just a little hit. Right there. Right, that word's right there. It's in Latin for just a little hit. And it's John the Baptist's head. You see these crosses over here. Put that right in there. I know. I love that. That is a crazy piece of art. crazy piece of art. Salam holding the head of, I should have, this Mark Chagall. Famous guy. These are all the words. It says right there. These are all writing, telling, these are the instructions of how to paint this. And then they're all, oh, I had to give it some static, man, because I was telling them, they deciphered this one painting right here. I said, you got that all wrong, man. Let me show you what it was. I sent it into chat. I was like going, hey, what's up with this painting? And they didn't even know. I got that shirt from my granddaughter, Addie. She got the diabetes. I got the sugars. She does. I love her to death. Me and her go to school all the time. This was the one, and you know what? They cut the picture out. Of the mermaid. There's a mermaid over to the side of it right there. These are all just super evil images, but I had the painting right here. It's got a donkey, the Madonna, Christ, Peter, the cock, the crows, the guy playing the harp. There's an upside down goat right here. That's a that's a mermaid. You can see her tail right there. And you can see the scales. And then this is an upside down face. They say that's from one of the watchers. Upside down. And then you can see it. That's the face that's upside down. Now, oh, don't hit the people. That's not crazy. This one, crazy. That's crazy. That's John the Baptist's head. That's Herod. That's Salome's mother that asked Salome to dance for Herod. And then she said, you did such a good job doing the dance that we would like his head. And then this word saying a little chop right there. And that's Herod. That was the devil was in him. And in Revelation 20, sorry, I can't see the questions. I'm coming. In Revelation 20, the faithful witnesses that were beheaded for the witness of Christ, that's John the Baptist, that's what that painting's about right there, are the faithful witnesses that were beheaded for the witness of Christ. That was, you know what? I didn't really mean to even go down that road. Those pictures were just there, and that was a small hole that I dug this morning. The prophecy of the popes. Let's go there. Let's go there. Just know that this is the year of the serpent, 2025. So watch out for these things right here. This is the auditorium of the Pope. This is next to Vatican City. It's right next to it. That's the Pope right there. Right there. And this is the auditorium, and that's him. There's the staircase that goes up. So this is two pictures. This is zoomed in, and that's him right there. Right in the snake. So he's in the mouth of the snake, and this is the auditorium of the Vatican, right next to the Vatican. This is where the Pope speaks. That's him sitting there. But literally, that red stage and that whole thing, that's Christ rising right there. Let's see if it does that. Yeah. And then he's right there in that picture. That little white dot. He's at the top of those stairs. That's the Pope. So he made a deal with these people right here, and I know that's probably boom. But he just made it renewed it for this year, and dude, these people are stacked. If they were a company, the Catholic Church, if they were a company, they would be the largest corporation on the planet. Okay? So whoever's going to take over the Roman Catholic Church is taking over $5 trillion worth of stuff right here. And if you got every billionaire in the United States and put them all in the same room, they would not be barely worth what the Catholic Church is worth. So there's that. That'll hurt your feelings. A little slap of reality there. But the year of the snake, you know what these people think? This is the year of the snake. And, they're now, they get to make decisions. The president of these place, they get to make decisions. And somehow in the church, by electing people, they elected a couple of bishops in Bangkok or something like that. And they weren't approved by the church. And then the guy that is the front runner to be the Pope, he went over to there as a relations expert and said, all right, we'll let you slide this time. And let those dudes do that. And then now they get to make sort of decisions over there. It's the year of the snake. I want to tell you something about the snake. The snake, right here. And this tells you what they think. They think that the year of the snake, they think that we were made on the seventh day. We all know we rested on the seventh day. He did. And that he created the chickens and the dogs and the pigs and the cows and the horses before us. Because he created men and women on the seventh day after creating the animals such as chickens. He created them on the seventh day after he created these animals. So we came after the pigs. And we don't know. Crazy. Year of the snake. Big corporation. There'll be a way when there hasn't been a way. Somebody testify that. He just did that. 2024. Bow. I want to kick this guy, man. He's you got to make a deal with them, and now they're all trying to see who's going to run this company, which is a $5 trillion company. And the dude that's going to be running it is this guy right here. He's the front runner to the prophecy of the popes. His name is Peter. Hang on, let me see if I got it. And on his marquee, this little thing right here, it says in Latin. Let me tell you what that says. It says, "Who shall separate us from the love of Christ?" Which comes out of Romans 8:35. Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? So, I mean, he's already telling you that he's the guy that's going to help us through this whole the tribulation and what have you. And I didn't take these pictures. Great. That's his eminence right there. But he's the front runner per se to turn into the next pope. Let me see if I can find some more information on that. Yeah. Oh, and the prophecy of the popes, these were some of the last popes. They were saying that he should be a shepherd and a sailor, and that this dude was from Venice. This is in 78 right here. Flowers, there were flowers in his stuff. This guy right here, John Paul, he was, this is one of the last popes. In the prophecy of the popes, it says that he will be of the half moon, ad mediate lumina, whatever, and he was elected during a half moon, and his papacy lasted 33 days on behalf of the moon cycle. And then this guy was number 2, and this is 1978 to 2005. That's not that long ago. 20 years ago. And this dude was born on a solar eclipse, and he was buried on a solar eclipse. So, and it says that he is the laborer of the souls, and that he is the laborer of the sun. So, in the prophecy of the popes, it says that number, and these are sequent up to the last pope, and he was this one, the laborer of the sun, and he was born on a solar eclipse. I just thought that was super, super weird. All right. So this Pietro guy, he's the front runner for the prophecy of the popes, out of 10, he gets a 10 out of 10 for being Peter the Roman, which is the 112th Pope in the prophecy of the popes. And his name is Peter, and he is from Rome. And it's too bad that all of those shoes fit on this dude right here. But it's, if the shoe fits, you have to wear it. You have to. This is what it says about the last pope. This is what he's going to do. In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, Peter the Roman will sit upon the throne, who will feed his sheep in many tribulations. And when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills shall be destroyed, and the dreadful judge shall judge his people. The end. That's what's written out of for the final pope, which we are on Pope 112, or 111, well. And, I don't know. It says the end. Then, Peter the Roman is very well could be the last pope. And, I hate that. I hate that about him. These are all the final ranking. I didn't zoom in on this too good. But that's him. He matches all the blanks. And like, these are the first 5. These are the 5 preferiti, the preferred group. These are all them. And like, they're just no. So if the final guy is, right, the final ranking for the Pope, prophecy of the Pope, right there. That guy, he's a 10 out of 10, man. I just showed it on that one page. Did you see it? There, Petro. Keep them in order right there. There it is. He's yes. Not a Jesuit. Roman identity. 10 out of 10. No. If he does, he's going to be in charge of trillions of dollars. Tango, vodka, Bumblebee.
Be careful, he had a vet visit today.
Bumblebee, damn. I so mad at you. You leave me out there, Dad. You leave me out there, and I will bite you, Dad. Let me get down there and tell you I'll bite you. Did somebody ask for Arlo? Yeah, I think you. I don't want to say he's the Antichrist because people will say, you said he was the Antichrist. And listen, I'm the trumpet. I am a watchman on the wall. Man, I see something out there. This guy's checking yeses, all the blanks. All I want you to do is watch this guy. I'm not saying he's anything. I'm a watchman on the wall. A watchman that runs out into the field and looks at the thing and goes, hey, man, are you good or bad? And it goes, yeah, I just killed you, so nobody knows that I'm coming to the city now. A watchman blows a trumpet on the wall, and when he's doing that, just know, hang on, get a picture up here. Prophecy of the Pope. Just know that a watchman is going to say, and they blow the trumpet in a certain way, and it says the enemy is coming from the east or the enemy is coming from the west. The notes that he plays tells them where the enemy is coming from. Then the king says, it's not an enemy or it is an enemy, and dispatch the troops. Then he starts playing the trumpet to tell the people, the troops inside, he plays a different note to say, go to the east wall or go to the west wall. And he dispatches everybody with the trumpet. So, I'm up here in the tower and I see this little, eagle's wings and tiger walking by the wall. And, I see this prophecy of the Pope and all these things pointing up. And I'm like, bah! I blow the trumpet and people are going, are you saying he's the Antichrist? I'm like going, I don't know, man. I saw something out there on the wall and it looked like a leopard with eagle's wings and I just thought I'd blow the trumpet. And you look at it and if you don't like it, man, you just go on. Because it says that if I see the sword fall upon the land, I blow the trumpet and warn the people. And then 33:4 says that if I blow the trumpet and you don't listen to it or you don't pay any attention, then that's you. That's all on your hands. The blood is on your hands. But it says that if I see it and I don't blow the trumpet, then your blood is on my hands if something happens to you. So who's a 10 out of 10? I'll go back. It is, in the Latin text, this is the, I'm so brain dead. Y'all can tell me to breathe again in a minute. I know it. Peter, the prophecy of the popes. These are the last 5. These are the next 5 people that are the perforiti for the popes. And this Peter right here, Parolin, he's the current guy right now that's the front runner. And as far as we can sort of tell, he is a 10 out of 10 for meeting the things that are Peter the Roman. And then, let me see if I can read this Peter the Roman thing to you again. They will. Oh my goodness. It's a lot of information, man. I'll tell you what. This is what Peter the Roman is supposed to do. In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, Peter the Roman will sit upon the throne. There's words and stuff. I can't see it either, so next time I'll have to. Who will feed his sheep in many tribulations. And when these things are finished, the city of the 7 hills shall be destroyed, and the dreadful judge shall judge his people. The end. So Rome is the city of 7 hills, and I don't know the name of the 7 hills, but Vatican Hill was not one of them, and it sat across the river. And on the back of the altar, back behind the altar in the Sistine Chapel, there's a picture of the river that separates them, and you can see the ferryman beating the people and making them get off and go to hell. But isn't Francis being buried on the 7 hills, which are supposed to be burned up? He is being buried and has to be put into the ground in what was Nero's house structure that spanned over 3 of those hills. Esquiline Hill is the largest hill, and the church that he wants to be buried on is on top of that. However, Nero was such a grotesque person that whenever he died, they buried the city, what they said, buried it alive, and buried all the monasteries, all the buildings that he built, and all the things that were underneath his home was the oldest pagan graveyard in Rome. Before he even built his home, to make room for it, he set the place on fire and told everybody that the Romans, the Christians, set it on fire. And so he actually did that. And where he built his house, Esquiline Hill or whatever, and where the Pope is wanting to be put into the ground at. Thank you so much for the gifts. That is where Nero blamed the Christians for burning that part of Rome down. He wants to be buried there. And wouldn't Francis be? You know what? Francis means free man. And Francis was the only one from America. And, you want to put a country boy into I say a guy from America. You want to put an American into an Italian kitchen? What do you think they'd do if I was walking there and telling them how to start cooking something in an Italian kitchen? Or if I walked in there and started telling them how to make wine. But geez Louise, could you imagine walking in there and telling them how to be Catholic, Roman Catholic? Where are you from? America. You know, my mother's, not my mother, Jill's great-great-grandfather, he was from Germany, and he fought in the U.S. Navy, and his name was like, God, what was it, Jill? It was the most German name in the world, man. He would have just got beat up like every day. And it wasn't Hitler, but it was something crazy. But, that's just what they are. And he was, Francis means free man. Hey, there's Arla right there. Francis means free man. And he was a Jesuit, and you can sort of trace the Jesuits and the Freemason thing, but he said all he wanted on his tomb was Franciso or whatever, and that means free man. And my stepdad was a Freemason. And Freemason means that you don't know how to be a Mason. You don't hit stone. You were allowed to come into there, and a Freemason is one that sort of travels around freely, and then they're called free and accepted Masons, and the ones that actually don't hit stone, they're just accepted. But it's just funny that he had the name Freeman on his, and he was the first one that was Freeman. So I don't know. I don't. He's a Jesuit. Dr. Fauci was a Jesuit. That tells you anything. He was. And the Chinese are helping vote those people in. I have to eat those Smarties to make me smart. I'm going to keep going. Keep going. Y'all have any questions on prophecy of the Pope? If y'all just joined, I'll be glad to talk about them. Okay. Came out, took the free churches. I just found out to see the WEF. Yeah, Klaus, whatever his name is, and then the other dude with the weird eyes and all that stuff. And we sort of like pulled out of that whole deal. I just joined. Hey, we're talking about the prophecy of the popes. We just finished talking about the book of Jubilees and one of the Dead Sea Scrolls that we've been reading about. But the prophecy of the popes and the people that are in there to replace him is just the craziest thing. And where he's wanting to be entombed into the ground, we were sort of going down that rabbit hole. And he has to be put into a place in the ground, which is, I'll go to it. I'll put that picture in there. Mm-hmm. That's not a picture of it, but under where Nero lived, his house would have been up above that. There's a necropolis, a graveyard. And Nero burned that land down above the necropolis and all of those structures and blamed it on the Christians. And then they did all kinds of terrible things to him. And then he built his house and his complex and all there over that necropolis. And I thank you so much for the gifts. I certainly appreciate it. Lisa, thank you. And I appreciate all of y'all giving me these pictures and what have you. I try to keep these stuff for my subscribers. So if you're a subscriber of mine and those antique pictures, they're all right there for you. But we were talking about where the Pope wants to be entombed into the ground, and it's a particular place in Rome on Esquiline Hill, and there's a weird story about that it snowed there in July. And I want to see if I got a picture of this thing. And one of the reasons that they think that it may have snowed, and I know I don't have it set up for me to. In that place, there is a tree, an oak tree, and there's a crimson worm that will crawl up the oak tree when it's pregnant. And it emits a red dye that they make the priestly garments out of in the book of Exodus and Hebrews, it tells you that. What's weird about this worm is that it attaches itself to an oak tree to the point of that it's going to die if it ever comes off of it. And it does. And the babies come out dyed red in this. And then once the babies come out dyed red, this turns solid white and flakes off and flies off like a snowflake. And the language and all for, not right there. It's just the language and all for is almost like a flurry of snow whenever these things, and it does all of that in 3 days. So in 3 days, the worm flies off the oak tree as a snowflake, and they were in that area, and they say that could have been what caused it to, quote, snow. But those worms that make the priestly garments out of, please explain the door and the Pope opened and the relation to his death. I don't know if he opened anything, and I don't try to prophesy or anything. I really am a watchman, man. I just sort of like, hey, they just opened the door. I don't want to try to put two and two together. If I do ever, people say, well, how is there so much bad in the world? And I'm like, well, Revelation says that the rest of the dead yet live again after the 1,000 years. It says, Revelations 20 verse like 5 or 6, it says that and Satan is released for a little season, and that the rest of the dead yet live again. And then it says the people that are in the first resurrection are not part of the second death. And then that second death is another 1,000 years. And that's 2,000 years. And we're literally almost 2,000 years away from when that happened. So the angel descended into the bottomless pit and locked away the dragon that is Satan, which is the devil, and bound him 1,000 years. And that is the first resurrection. It says that. And so just know that that happened in 33 AD. Jesus was 33 years old, and that happened in 33 AD, and he bound him 1,000 years, and then the rest of the dead yet live again, and it didn't say they live for a short season. So Satan only is out for a short season. The rest of the dead yet live again, which is all the troublemakers in the world. And that's all the demons and all the trash that you see around here causing all the trouble. And I'm glad that you want to be a better person. I want you to know what's happening, because it says in the Bible that you may talk to an angel and not even know it. And what you say to them could save my life. So I just want you to know that I want you to save my life. And you never know. It says that right in the Bible. You never know if you've ever talked to an angel. And it's you knowing the truth about these things. And, Jesus, when he talked to them, he would tell them, let me put on some of these cool pictures. I like that one. This picture about Cleopatra's needle, I can't look on my phone. It says, do you believe in the one true God that created the earth? Like somewhere in the hieroglyphics on that. And George Vanderbilt brought this to the United States. You know what? I got it right here. I got the original picture. And I tell you, these are all stacked up. And I've got 100 of them. Let me get to it. I'll read it to you. You're just going to lose your mind. Read that to you. Where is it? If you know it's good and you can... I'm sorry if I had to sing in your ear. You have it. I want to read this to you. With my spectacles. I get out of the way. The obelisk, popularly known as Cleopatra's Needle. The small inset above is from a photograph of this famous obelisk before it was removed from Alexandria, Egypt, to Central Park, New York City, USA. While the larger picture shows the gigantic column after the removal, the obelisk was presented to the city of New York by Chiva of Egypt in 1879. But was not placed in position at the place until 1881. After after an expenditure of nearly $100,000 paid by Mr. W.H. Vanderbilt and about 3 years' effort on the part of Lieutenant Colonel Goneridge of the U.S. base tip from the shaft measures 69 feet and 2 inches, and the tip on it is new. The obelisk was first erected at Helopius by Ptolemaeus on the 18th dynasty from 1600 BC, and was later in 22 BC removed to Alexandria, probably by Pontius, thus stands looking down now at the people of a city whose site was unknown to the Eastern world in the time of the obelisk had been in the existence for over 3,000 years. That is just, you know what? I hope that didn't just bore y'all to death, because I love my crowd and I would hate to do that. But and it said something that I screenshot right after it, and it says that at the bottom of it, it says, do you believe? You spoke about the devil being released again for a short while. Is that after all? No, that ain't after nothing, man. That was 1033 AD. No, that's not after we all go to heaven. So the devil gets released for a short season, or did get released for a short season in 1033 AD. And I have a map of time, and not that it says that. I want you to read the Bible read the Bible. And the Bible tells you, if you read this chapter 20, bro, it's not a big deal. Read chapter 20, and it says that the first resurrection, that he changed the devil away for 1,000 years, and that he must be released for a little season. And it says, he who is a part of the first resurrection is not affected by the second death. And the second death is a whole nother 1,000 years. And after the second death, and after the 1,000 years, Satan is released from his sin. So there's a place where Satan is released for a short season after 1,000 years, which would be about 1033 AD. And then 2,000 years after that would be 2033, which is about 7.5 years from Bright Double Dog now. So, you heard that, didn't you? So we're getting ready to elect a pope, Peter the Roman, that has an insignia that says that he's going to lead the church through many tribulations. And he's just a front runner. They may elect somebody else. Because truthfully, this is not going the way the devil sort of sees it printed out and like they all think that it's going. I think that is a thing. But I want to show you something on this map of time. It's the craziest thing you ever will. It does not say the devil. It is 22 feet long, and it does not say the devil anywhere on it. It doesn't. Are y'all still there? Because I didn't do the thing that says I've been on for an hour. And we've been on unless they just give it to me like that now. Good. I got my map this week. I'm here. All right, good. Thank you so much. I'm going to show you where it says the devil in the only place on the 22-foot map of time. It says it right here. All right. Well, I'll tell you what to do. You go to 1033 AD. It'll be right there. Hold on. I'm old, man. Hang on, that's right here. 1033. Robert the devil right there. That's what I do. I had to figure out where it was. I'm going to put my finger on it. The only place on the 22-foot map of time. Robert the devil. 1033 AD. Robert. In the red. Robert the devil. Okay. That's 1033 AD. So stretch out this map of time. Right here. All right. There's Jesus in 33 AD. And then there's devil right there. And in 1033, the devil's released. And then in 2033, it's over here, right here. That's us. But in 1033, when Robert the Devil, can you get one of those maps and there's links in the bio? You can. Yes, you can. That 22-foot map of time is so cool. It's called the Adams Map of Time. I see it on TikTok all the time, but it's like $20 more. Go to Amazon and you can get it cheaper. On my Amazon links, I think it's even cheaper. But that supports me too because I get like a nickel. And if you go to my Amazon page and buy everything that you ever buy off of Amazon, I can quit right now. And but you can go to my Amazon page on my Amazon links and buy everything in your household through that. And I do get a nickel off of that. But that map of time's there, and all of my Bibles, like this Bible, which is a cool Bible. It's $120 something for this Bible from Amazon. And I'm like, you know, it's made in China. So it's right there on the front of it. It's made in China. What was I talking about that was so interesting? And y'all had me. I was just going down a rabbit hole. Oh, about the 1033 and the rest of the dead yet live again. So that's. Let me read it for you. You know what? Let's read. Y'all want to read the tribulation? Y'all want to read 20? Revelations 20? Because I blow you away with this one. Say yeah. Somebody say yeah. One person say yeah. I'll commit the whole group. Amen. John 15, yes, yes, yes. The whole group's going to get it now. When people have questions about Revelations 20, let me read this to you and just know some facts. I'm going to spray some facts out of here. You ready? What is this? White dove. I love Revelation. I love Revelation. Daniel 12:9 says, "Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed until the time of the end." And this one right here, Revelation 20, I read this all the time, and it is so good. It tells you about the first 1,000 years, then the second 1,000 years. I'll show you right where it chops it in half, and then where he lets John the Baptist come out of the ground, and all of these, probably the 144, come out of the ground and serve with him. So know that. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Now, that's after 1,000 years, so Jesus Christ died in 33 AD. He that ascended is first that descended into the lower parts of the earth, and that is Jesus Christ that locked him away. And I'm getting ready to show you the rest of that right now. And it says that in Matthew, like 50-something too. 27:52, I think, is what Matthew, and it talks about, and the ground did rent, and the graves were opened, and the bodies of many saints which slept arose, and walked through the city streets of Jerusalem, and were seen by many. That's going to be verse 4 right here, and that's coming up right now. And he must be released a little season. Okay, that's 1,033, and then where is it said? Where does it say the rest of the dead? Oh, verse 5, I got to read one more. And it says, "But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection." I skipped a verse, but I'm going to go back to it. That's the rest of the dead. When you want to know what all the madness and the craziness in the world is, that's the rest of the dead. But let me tell you what they're talking about, the rest of the dead, because Jesus took the first of the dead, probably the 144, and took them out, and right here in verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him. Verse 4, "And I saw the thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus." That's John the Baptist right there. "And for the word of God, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. That's 1,000 years right there. And John the Baptist is the beheaded witness for Christ. It says it in John 1, chapter 1, verse 5 or 7. It says, "And John, who is the faithful witness of Christ, of God, was sent by God." So just know Matthew what? I'll tell you. Matthew 27:52 maybe. I'm trying. You know what? I used to 27:52. You know, I never was one of those guys that could quote the scripture like that. "And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent." Oh, here it is. "And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many." Matthew 27:52. John heard of 30 years, AD 33. He was talking about 1,000 years. No. What? Talking about 1,000 years. Well, he was. He was talking about 1,000 years. I'll read it to you again. But don't try to undo me if you don't mind. I know that we're coming up on this. I can feel it. You can feel it. That's why we're all in here. That's why there's 400 people in this room, and they're wanting answers. And I said Revelations chapter 20. Now I'm going to read this to you. Just know that in Matthew 24:27, verse 52, it just said, "The rocks did rent, and the graves did open, and the bodies of many saints which slept arose." All right? "And I saw the thrones of them that sat upon, the judgment was given unto them." That was Herod. And that was right there, Herod, and giving judgment unto them. "And for the souls that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus." That's John chapter 1, verse 5 or 7. God sent the witness John to be the faithful witness from God. were beheaded for the witness of God and for the word of God, which had not worshipped him and the beast, and neither worshipped his image, neither had received a mark upon his foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Listen, I'm not saying, I'm not saying this is the first resurrection. The Bible says that right there. This is the first resurrection. This ain't me. That's the first resurrection. That's 1,000 years. This 1,000 years, right there above it, is the first resurrection. I knocked my pictures down. So, I have followed you for years, and the truth is all I have found. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you the truth right here, too. And the rest of the dead must be released. The rest of the dead yet live again. So he just says, the Bible, Jesus Christ, his words are all through this, just says that when he was crucified on his resurrection, that the grave split open and the bodies of many saints which slept arose and walked through the city streets of Jerusalem and were seen by many. Matthew 27:52. Now, Revelations 20 just says that he saw the beheaded witnesses and they came and lived and reigned with him for 1,000 years. So for 1,000 years, then it says that the ones that were in the first resurrection are not affected by the second death, so they're still with him. And the devil was only released for a little season, and the rest of the dead that got to live again, which are all I can't say that, all the other demons that were in the ground, they got to live again in 1030 AD. That's the beginning of the Dark Ages. That's the beginning of the Crusades. That's the, hang on, I'll show you. 1,000, right here, dude. There it is. There's 1,000. There's Robert the Devil. And then, where are the crosses? All these crosses are Christian persecutions right here. So none of that happened before. On the months before, that was all happened. Robert the Devil, then these are all the Christian persecutions, where the rest of the dead yet live again. And this is where all the technologies came from. This is where, people start building stuff out of the houses. We lived in mud huts until then. And then all of a sudden we start building technologies and buildings, and that's exactly why Jesus and not Yeshua? What do you mean, why Jesus and not Yeshua? Why do I use the name Jesus? Is that what you're asking? Come on back to me. Yes. Okay. Hang on a second. I show you what I show many people. And if you tell me the Bible's wrong, I want you to just take my screen and go and just go on down the road. Because John 19, verse 19, John chapter 19, verse 19, I think the 144 are the ones that came out, and then right after that verse in the Bible, I'll read it to you if you want me to. It says that that was a multitude that couldn't be numbered. They were the ones that came out of the Great Tribulation. So I think there were the 144 that came out and walked through the city streets of Jerusalem. But John 19:19, you're asking me why I was saying Jesus. John 19:19, and Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was, very clearly, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Okay, you ask me why I use Jesus, because in the Bible that I use and in all the Bibles that I have, in John 19:19, it says exactly that his name is Jesus of Nazareth. And I had a guy that was a Muslim guy. His name was Dewey. Jill remember, man, he would get the Holy Ghost and just scream out in the middle of church. It would just give you the Holy Ghost. And he would... And anytime they said, I remember Dewey, man, he came up to me and he goes, his name is not Jesus. His name is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He goes, don't you leave the Nazareth off. His name is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And he made sure I got that right. He don't just say Jesus Christ of Nazareth. And it says it right there in John 19:19. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. This is the killer part right here. Second one. This title then read many of the Jews. You're right here. For the place where Jesus was crucified, it says it again, was nigh to the city, right outside the city. And it was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. So Jesus of Nazareth was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Why does Revelation say Satan is released after 1,000 years? I'm truly confused. He was released for a little season, and at the same time, he was the rest of the dead yet live again. I'll go back to that. And after the rest of the dead yet live again, I'm sure that he got them onto their way and started them off down their little path of unrighteousness, and then he was only released for a little season. And he is bound for a total of 2,000 years. It says it in Revelation 20. And then it says, let me keep going. It's in chapter 5 right here. We just read past the first 1,000 years, and it says, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Done deal. Okay? Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be talking about, but they shall be priests of God and Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. There's another 1,000 years. So there's the first 1,000 years of the first resurrection, and that's in verse 4, and then the rest of the dead, and he got out for a little season, and then the second death is the second 1,000 years. And we're literally 40 Jubilee periods. We know how bad 40 is, and 40 days and 40 nights, and they were wandered the desert for 40 years and what have you. So we're on the 40th Jubilee, and this is the Jubilee year, and we're on the 40th Jubilee. So just know that Saul, David, and Solomon all reigned for 40 years exactly, all three of them. And 40 was a year of time of test and trial. So just know that. And so we're on the end of the 40th Jubilee, and in 2033 is 2,000 years, or the 40th 50-year period of Jubilees, and that will be 2033, which is 7.5 years away from now. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection, the dudes that got out and walked through the city streets of Jerusalem and saw my many. Because the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. The second death is nothing to do with the first resurrection. It's the second 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. Bada bing. Right there. So this part right here, we are right to here, and he's released out of his prison. And he will go out and gather the four quarters. And he shall go out and deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. I love it when people go, it's a flat earth and it says corners. It doesn't say corners, it says quarters. And I don't even know what shape the earth is, so I don't go down that part. But I'm like going, please read it just so that you don't think that it says corners. And do you believe in the 7-year tribulation is still to come? You know, I don't know. I'm blowing the trumpet. I see these things. You're reading it just like I'm reading it. It's 2,000 years. Jesus was crucified in 33 AD. The 40th Jubilee will end in 2033. So we will have, the devil will have been locked away for 2,000 years in 2033. And he was locked away in the first crucifixion and the first resurrection. Do you have a YouTube and a video of the glass pyramid that has the 200 seats? I don't put that on the YouTube. They're on here, but I will be putting those things on my webpage. So please go to my webpage, and you can go there. It's thetrumpet33-3.com. But I love talking about this tribulation. Let me finish with this. And then the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, and gather them together to do battle, the number of whom the sand and the sea. And You can just go look at the United Nations buildings and all that stuff. They are right there, right outside of the United Nations building is that big thing. But I didn't do. I don't put all my stuff on YouTube, so it's not there. You just said something dishonest. What did I say that was dishonest? It absolutely does not say quarter. I love it when y'all get serious, man. And you call me dishonest, I'm going to tell you something now. You want to hit a nerve with me. Because you know I'm getting ready to show you. You're probably one of them people, there, right there, right above that highlighter. Four quarters of the earth. Quarters of the earth. So, like, did you leave the room yet? Or I just can't stand it when people just go that you're dishonest. Don't call me that. If I'm going to read it to you, I'm going to read it to you out of the Word. And I just read that quarter to you. And you may have, you show your Bible and what it is, and just know, I'm reading this, Revelation 7:1. I'll skip around. It is the truth. It does not say corners. It says quarters right here. Revelation 20, verse. Verse 8. Revelation 20, verse 8. He showed it to you. Quarters right there. Read that backwards. The older Bible is more truth. What? Don't you talk to me, boy. I got a Bible for you. Dong, digga, dong, dong. Let's go all the way back to Mister's Bible. That is from 1582. All right, we'll listen to that. Let's go! Everybody trying to sleep, I'm sure. Revelation 20, I'll show you. I love it. This doesn't even call it Revelation. It's called the Apocalypse. Oh, potato salad sandwiches! I found it. I found it, right? So that's what this is. I found it. Quarters. And we'll go out and deceive them in the four quarters of the earth, which is a roundish shape. Boom! This man has been favored by my Father. That's cool. Mike, I know, man. You know what? I get that all the time. I tell you what gets me is whenever I start talking to Chat GPT or whatever, and it does the same type thing. 144,000, yeah. And that was not the 144,000. That could have been them that got out of the ground, and they were the saints and priests that lived with him. And, there was 12 out of each one of the tribes of each one of the 12 tribes would be the ones that got out, probably. And it says right there in Revelation that saw those that had the 144,000, and then it says, well, who are those other dudes? And he goes, those are couldn't be numbered, but those are the ones that made it through the Great Tribulation. Firmament, I love the firmament. We have a firmament. He put the waters and put the earth and the firmament in between the waters. So we live on the earth, which is in the firmament that is in between the waters. The firmament means it means expanse. So it is an expanse that is between something, and the boundaries of that are called the firmament. And I don't want to tell you that there's a round ball spinning around in the middle of it, and I don't want to tell you there's a pancake spinning around in the middle of it, because I don't believe either one of those. One, the stars don't move around. I can win both sides of those arguments. This is the argument that I can't win. In the book of Enoch that was taken out of the Bible, it tells you that the place outside of the firmament is where the angels that deceived God roll over in the fire and appear as men when they want to. And then Enoch was taken to a place where they were held during this time, and it's under the ground. It's the air we breathe. I thought you were telling me to take another breath. I was going to say, it's the air we breathe. It's the air we breathe. You're right. And the air that's outside of what we breathe is the fifth element, which is what Elon Musk named his child, aether. And if you think about it, whenever you breathe ether, which is aether is ether with an A in front of it, when you breathe that, you just go into like la la land. So, I mean, maybe these angels just like breathe aether. And, but nonetheless, I forgot where I was going. Oh, the firmament. And, I mean, when you look at the firmament, you look at the stars, I've got a telescope, and when you look at them, it looks like something that's, you ever seen a raindrop hit the water, and it, like, on the bottom of the pool, you go, boom, that's what a star looks like. So it sort of looks like you're looking through water. Nobody went to the moon on either one of those rockets or any of that crap, I can tell you that. I was a video production major in college, and there's no way that 10-cram piece of crap, that Blue Origin thing didn't go. And they say they went to space. They didn't go to space. They went like, if they left the ground. Which now I'm starting to think that they didn't even go. But they were saying they went 60 miles up in the air, and the moon is 225,000 miles away. Do you think AI could become the image of the beast? I tell you what about AI. And my friend is, he's a big computer guy, man, and he's telling me how smart AI is, and with the new Willow chip that can think faster than anybody on the earth, whatever, and it just does all these calculations in 5 minutes that all our computers couldn't do. And he was telling me how smart it was, and that the computers designed their own language to talk to each other, and that the scientists or whoever, they had no idea what the computers were saying to each other. And he was just telling me how impressed he was, and he's an atheist. He's not an atheist, but he doesn't really know what to believe in. And I've traveled the world with him, and I love him to death. And he's coming over to us because of some things that I've said to him. But I can tell you, I told him, I said, your supercomputer, they develop a language, but they can't create anything. Because they created a language. And I said, no, I'm not talking about creating a language. Me and you can create a language. I said, they can't create a blade of grass. You don't have a machine. You don't have a person. You don't have anybody. You don't know anybody that knows how to make a blade of grass. You don't know anybody that knows how to make an acorn. You don't even know anybody that knows what that crap is in the middle of an acorn that's going to make an acorn tree. And not yet. You'll never see that computer get so smart enough that it can create a heart and make it beat in a counter on a counter and create a living, breathing thing. Because when I say create a blade of grass, you're creating a living blade of grass that breathes in what I'm breathing out and breathes out what I'm breathing in. Okay? You just need to know that. We don't even know how to make a blade of grass. And somebody's going to try to figure out what shape this earth is. I tell you what. You read the last chapter of the book of Enoch, and if you understand where he went to the different levels of hell and the different levels of purgatory and how they had mountains and rivers and lakes and streams all within the earth, you tell me what the shape of that is, because it is a realm, and it is of a kingly realm, and we're not smart enough to figure out how this whole world works. So I don't know how anybody's going to gain 1 second in the kingdom by knowing what shape the earth is. And when Job asked these questions, he said, where were you when I built the earth? Where were you when I held back the tides and made the winds blow? And who was ever been back far enough to put a tape measure upon it? It is a realm, I believe so. And he said, where were you? And people go, well, it's on the pillars of the earth. What are the pillars sitting on? I'm a contractor. You put pillars on something, they got to be on a foundation. What are your pillars of the earth sitting on? Where's this pancake sitting on? What is this little round thing spinning around? How does it spin all the water off of it? How does it not find dead level? You go, oh, but the sea level is sea level. The Dead Sea is 1,800 feet lower than sea level. Okay, that's a 180-story building. The height of the Empire State Building lower than sea level. Hutch it up. With all of that, hey, this is sea level. The water's level. Shut up. The water's not level. Everybody needs to open their Bibles and preach God's word. Yeah! I tell you what, you need to read your Bible. And this Hebrews thing right here, go download that off of my link tree. I'm getting ready to wrap it up because I've been on here for 2 hours. But this Hebrew study guide, go download that, and you're going to get to, and it's the book of Hebrews. Nobody knows who wrote it, and it's God speaking. But the things that I put in here is all the comparisons of the book of Psalms. Go download it. It's on my link tree, and you get right here. And he says, for unto which of my angels said at any time, thou art my son this day, and I have begotten thee. And again, I will be unto him as a father, and he hence unto me a son. And then the psalm with the exact same words is right there. Every word that God is speaking is a different psalm from a different piece of the psalm. You have to be God to speak from, and every time Jesus said something, he would go, doesn't your law say, how long your chair makes you like you have wings of an angel? It's one of the big guy chairs, and but I assure you, I don't have wings of an angel. But thank you for that. It does. It's got a little angel wings. I took a picture in front of one of those things, man. I was like, ooh. I'm lost. I haven't been to church in a lot of my life, and I don't understand, but I just love to listen to you. Well, that makes 2 of us. I haven't been to church a lot in my life either. And let me tell you what happened to me. Carla, I lost my hearing. And, I don't know. I lost my hearing. I got religious about 7 years ago, met when I was meeting Jill, and I had just gotten into it. But man, about 4 or 5 years ago, I lost my hearing in COVID. And, I didn't get the jab or none of that stuff. And, he does have one. And, I love you. She's got wings. She's got a halo. And, I lost my hearing. And I couldn't hear what you were telling me. And I can only read, I can only see the closed captions, I can only read what's in front of me. And so I started gobbling up, reading stuff, because I lost my hearing, and it made me now retain things so much better. And my comprehension went through the roof because I can't hear, and now I'm reading it. So, I gave up one thing, and I told the Lord, I was like, thank you for, me losing my hearing. And he was like going, no problem, man. Let's get some of that right one going for you, because a trumpet doesn't have ears. And he blessed me to hear much less out of my right ear now. And I've been so blessed that my left ear doesn't work, and so very blessed that my right ear only works 20%. But the hearing aids don't work and all the tests, and it is testimony, and it made me read. And now that I'm like reading and remembering, I'm like, they're going, hey, God's speaking in that. And I'm like going, but he's talking in the Psalms. Everything he's saying is psalmatic. That's terrible psalmatic. It was. He was talking in the Psalm. That's just crazy. Jesus, he is anointed. It just blew me away is that David was anointed. And anointed means the word Messiah. And Messiah in Greek is Christos. And that is Christ in English. So David, the dude that was anointed, and so was Saul, and so was Solomon, and all the other kings that were anointed, they were Messiahs, because that's what that word means. Anointed means Messiah. And they were, yet because the word Messiah means Christ or Christos, they were Christ. So David was the Messiah that was, and the word David means beloved. David was the beloved Messiah that lived on top of Mount Zion, the mountain of God. And when Jesus Christ asked the Pharisees of the day, who is the Messiah, who is the Christ, and they said, he is the son of David, then Jesus said, how can he be at his right hand? And he calls him out for the 110th Psalm, and they could not answer him a word. And so he recants the 110th Psalm where David called himself a priest in the order of Melchizedek. And over 300,000 likes. Wow, better than last week. I love it, man. I can sit here and just talk about this all day long with y'all about what I've read and what I'm remembering, because these things are like, I'm seeing these pictures and I'm like going, man, that's John the Baptist's head right there, and that's Herod, and that's Shimon and dancing, and that's Jacob's ladder, and that's the Messiah, and that's Peter, the little cock crowing over there and all. I don't know how all this stuff. I pray every morning, dear Lord, please let me see this world through your eyes. And gosh, you want to hear a story? We were in Amsterdam, and my wife, I woke up and I went to bed. And she said, I always pray, or you can pray, please, Lord, let me see the world through your eyes. And I did that night. And man, their state symbol, their state thing is 3 X's. It's an XXX, like triple X. And I remember I walked out the hotel the next day in Amsterdam, and I walked up to the sewer cap, and I was like, God, the Amsterdam sewers have got to be the nastiest place in the world. And I saw on top of the sewer metal steel cap was XXX. And I was like, man, that's got to be the nastiest place in the world. And I literally moved a little bit, and the X's turned sideways, and they turned into 3 crosses. And I was like, whoa, you're right there where you need to be, in the nastiest place of the world, and you're there. And if you know where I'm at, it was the Marriott in the Amsterdam, right by the canal. And I looked up from the sewer cap, and there's a Virgin Mary on top of one of the buildings over there, and I was like, boom. And then I literally turned around, and the flag in front of the Marriott had 3 X's, but it was hanging at a 45-degree angle. And it made the 3 X's 3 crosses. And I found out that Amsterdam used to have 3 crosses across their chest. It was a sash that went across, and it had 3 crosses. 1, 2, 3. And whenever they took the sash off, the sash hung down, and it made 3 X's, and people realized they called it the 3 X's. And it was 3 crosses. And now it turned into the 3 X's or triple X. And it's like and I'm like, yeah. And every morning I pray, please, Lord, let me see the world through your eyes. And, I'm trying to Google and then put these pictures of this thing in it. I mean, that's when John the Baptist got beheaded right there. There's his head. There's Salome. There's her daughter dancing. And there's Herod with the goat horns right there. Crazy. You can see John the Baptist's head. There's Herod. There's the horns of the devil. There's the mama that asked for the head of John the Baptist. And there's the daughter that danced. And, of course, she's showing him how provocative her dancing was. And it brought the devil out of him. And that was the one that those were given judgment. So right there in the book of Revelation, when they were given judgment to behead John the Baptist, let me read that for you. And cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him. And I saw the thrones, and they sat upon them. People, that picture right there. And judgment was given unto them. He was allowed to give judgment over John the Baptist. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus and for the word of God, in which not had worshipped the beast or his image. I just read that for you in Matthew 24, where they got out of the ground. walked through the city streets of Jerusalem and were seen by many. In the first resurrection, Matthew 27:52, wasn't it? And it's just an amazing story, Matthew 27:52. A lot of people don't realize that, but if you go look up in 33 AD on April 3rd, there was a earthquake and a eclipse that caused a blood moon on April 3rd of 33 AD. Just know that. And these things keep saying about the third month and all that stuff. April is the first month. And we found that out just a couple of weeks ago about how the Roman Catholic Church in 150 BC changed April 1st to January 1st, represented by the god of Janus, that has the face forward and a face backwards that can stand at the end of the year and look backwards and forwards. And it said that anybody that still believed, the Pope said, anybody that still believed that the end of the year was on April 1st was a fool. And yeah, then that's what dudes are full of deception. Matthew 27:52. I can read that real quick. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks did rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Bam. And it was the end of the Sabbath, and it was drawn toward the first of the week. And it came to Mary Magdalene, and the Lord descended from heaven. He came to Mary Magdalene first, man. And when people tell me women shouldn't preach, well, there right here, Mary was the first one to preach. She was the first one to say, I saw Jesus. So, I don't believe any of that. My wife is, man, I tell you what, you ought to get her started. You think I'm good. She has a basis in faith that's so deep that, man, we had one of our grandchildren fall off of the bed, and it wasn't our fault. We didn't have anything to do with it, thank you, Jesus. But it was a mom. And but nonetheless, the baby fell, and it just scared us to death the way that it fell, and just that. And it should have. We all just thought, oh, it should have fell. And Jill immediately said, an angel saved her. And it wasn't we had to, wow, that was maybe an angel saved her. Her heart knew that an angel saved her, like immediately. And I just said, I wish I had that kind of faith, man. There is no Jew, no Gentile, no man, no woman. In our Father's kingdom, we are equal now because of Jesus. I don't, go that far. I'm not the same as everybody else. I sure don't lie my wife. And I don't gender bend at all. But I'm not a Jew. A Jew is somebody that denies Jesus Christ. And the person that does that is the Antichrist, he who denies the Father. And Peter denied the Father 3 times, denied Jesus Christ 3 times. And Jesus, said he forgot him, but every time Jesus went back, Peter didn't dab on his fisher's coat. What do you think about the St. Malachi prophecy? You just joined, didn't you? Did you? Say you did. File her out of the way. You know what? We got a bunch of people. Y'all want to hear about the prophecy of the popes? Because I did it in the first class and the first thing. So I can definitely go back over the prophecy of the popes if you'd like me to. Or my wife could be saying, you have been on this thing for 2.5 hours. But I will. I'll do the prophecy of the Pope real quick. 112th Pope, prophecy of the Pope. Hey, listen, real quick. If you want any of this information, you can go to my website, thetrumpet33-3.com, and that's all my stuff. All of my books and all of my works are right there. When you click into it, it'll take you right there to that page, and that's on my link tree. So that's my link tree. It's right there. If you click on my bio page and my link tree, that'll take you right there and take you to my webpage. And it goes there. And that is the most beautiful woman in the world, and that is the cutest dog in the world. And that's Greg. All right, Prophecy of the Popes, I promise you. If you want a Bible or anything, I hand make these Bibles. I handmade that Bible. It's made with a lambskin. If you want one, you can go to my website and buy one. It has the Apocrypha. I handmade all of that. It's 12 pounds. It's 6 inches thick. It's 11.5 by 8.5 regular sheets of paper, all printed on parchment and wrapped in lambskin. So that's the only way we're going to build anything built in America. Living in America. Ow. Hang on. Prophecy of the Popes. I got him. Where's he at? Dude right here. All right, listen. Out of the 5 people that are supposed to be the Pope next, the Perforiti, that's these guys right here, these 5. 2 of them named Peter. The 112th Pope in the Prophecy of the Pope, which is the Malachian and Prophecy of the Pope, the 112th Pope is Peter the Roman. All right? So just know that this front runner, Pedro, whatever, he is the top runner, and this is his name. It's a literal fulfillment of this. He is a Roman. He fits. He's from America. He's not a Jesuit. And as far as being a candidate for Peter the Roman, he gets a 10 out of 10. All right? From Italy. These are the 5 front runners right here. And just know this guy, he made a deal with China like last year that extended into these years. And they run a $5 trillion business right there. It's a $5 trillion business. These is what the Vatican is worth right here, is $4.8 trillion. That's the type of enterprise that these people are on top of. And just their liquid assets and what have you, billions of dollars in all of these things. Millions of acres, trillions of dollars, 200 billion in art. Prophecy of the Pope. Somebody's going to take over it. And what gets me about the prophecy of the Pope is, hang on. If the Catholic Church were a company, it would be the largest corporation in the world. Just know that. It's worth more than all of the billionaires in the United States combined. They're only worth about $5 trillion, and the Catholic Church is worth $4.87 trillion. Apple is a second, way behind it. They're only half as big. Apple is only half as big as the church. Microsoft is half as big as the church. Elon Musk ain't there. He ain't even there. He don't even got a T. He don't got the T. He's you talking about, when I said the Antichrist, remember when Jesus came back, he came back as a Jew? And I said, if you come back and you're going to be the Antichrist, or you're going to be the false prophet, you're going to be something, you better be rich. You're going to be da-da-da-da-da. And sure enough, I pulled this up today, and they are the richest in the world. So they'll be hurt. Now, don't think that they won't be hurt. And China, Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. They made a deal, and they elected some bishops and what have you, and the Pope didn't even know about it. And then he sent the guy that is the front runner, this Peter the Roman guy that's the 10 out of 10 on that, and they sent him over to Beijing, and they were like, all right, it's cool. And yeah, we'll let y'all sort of have some voting power because we really want to get a church in here and get this thing going. And the Chinese, those people are probably like going, we want $1 trillion. Like, just didn't say Malachi, it just said there's only one pope left before the end. I believe so. And that Francis, which is Freeman, which is what that name means, he's the only pope from America. So I'm not sure that they even like counted him. You know, I just think that it's like, I was telling somebody, I said, that's like putting an American in an Italian kitchen, man. They're not even going to listen to you, bro. They're not. They won't listen to you. Prophecy of the popes. Come on, let me get it. Comparison, just how big that was. Those people. These are all the people that are coming into contention. And what is that thing? Where's the one that says best match? Oh, you know, it says in his family, it says on his crest. Let me find it. I got it right here. Dude's crest is coming up to be, this is his crest. This is the words in Latin. Let me tell you what this is. In Latin, this says, who shall separate us? I can't see that from Christ. But then it says, shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? Shall tribulation. This is on his crest, this first sentence, and this is the rest of Romans 8:35, how the rest of the verse reads. Let me get it for you. Boom. Okay. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or whatever's behind that sticker that says that on the daily rankings, or peril or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are blanked all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the tribulation. For the slaughter. Sheep for the slaughter. I don't put any words in there. Peter Will, Black Peter. There's a black pope. Just know that. I think he really sort of runs the show. But who will separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine? So this is this guy's motto, this crest right here. This says the first verse of that. It says that right there. Who will separate us from Christ? Shall tribulation. He's the pretty much the front runner. That's his family crest. He's the 10 out of 10 guy for Peter the Roman. You can see right there. And his family crest says that he's here to lead us through what's going to separate us from Christ? Tribulation. Let's just read those words again. I just put that together. Let me read them together. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation. Bam. Okay. Shall distress. That's who he is. So he's the forerunner. He's going to be hopefully in charge of the $5 trillion corporation, which is, I don't know, man, that's so much larger than anybody in America. It is larger than all of the billionaires put together. Offering our neck is the love. You know, you have to be ready to do that, JD. I certainly appreciate that. My wife grew up thinking that we would all have to ask to have our head cut off or go with the Lord. And, of course, I'm prepared to do that because I know exactly. It's 333 in South Africa. All right. I love that. I got some people that follow me in South Africa. And you got to be ready for that because, you know, if you don't, what's on the other side is the devil. And so it wouldn't be hard to be a martyr knowing what I know. And I'm trying to get the word out and trying to get so many of y'all to believe this. Because hearing is one thing, believing it is another. You know, if you believe something, you're going to follow it hand and foot, man. You're going to just believe it. And, you know, convincing somebody to believe something, I can only tell you through my personal experiences that the things that make me believe in that are my personal experiences with Jesus Christ. And I can tell you that he knocked on my door. I can tell you my dog barked at him. I can tell you he wagged his tail when he walked in the door. Can you talk about the part of the Bible where it says even the elect could be deceived? Yeah, I know. I will talk about that. What verse is it? Because it says right above that that even the elect could be deceived. But in each one of those instances, it says those whose names are not written in the book of life. It says it right before that, will be deceived. And just know that if your name is not written in the book of life, you may believe that crap. You may believe that somebody went to the moon and on that little tin bucket. You may believe that a mask is helping you out with that stuff. Now, you may believe a lot of these things. And you may be one of the very smart people, the very elect and all that stuff that would believe that. I showed my wife an AI image of an old lady taking a walker and fighting a shark with it off the edge of a dock. It looked so real, and that was computer-generated image. And I think Matthew 24:24. All right, let's see. Oh, I was right there. My wife, she's so awesome. Get her to read one of them scripts you know they do in the church and all that stuff. For there shall rise false Christ and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And let me see. Go forth, not in the shot. Ooh, that goes into the part where people go, are you pre-trib or post-trib? Like the next three verses, it says it right here. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. So, and the Son of Man shall appear in the clouds. And all that stuff. Can you share how Jesus showed up for you, please? Yeah, I will share how Jesus showed up for me. Let me show you why this is at the very front of my website. Not there. Can you see that? Behold, I stand at the door and knock. It's Revelation 3:20. I got told a long time ago that I needed to be a rock and more of a rock. And, man, I was like a millionaire and 6'3" and 250 pounds and had a big old house. And I just thought I was pretty rocky. And I just couldn't figure out how and fight whatever I needed to do. And I was pretty rocky. And I was searching on my iPad at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll never forget it. And once I got past all the Dwayne Johnson, I wanted to see what a rock was. I found this little church that was right there called The Rock. And I went to their website, and that's why it was right there across the top. It saved my life. And as soon as I got to their website, I hope that same thing happens to you. I clicked the website, and it popped up, and it said, I stand at the door and knock, and the door knocked, man. It knocked. My chocolate lab barked at the door. It was just me and Kona. And I got up and I saw her bark, and I was like, holy. No. I was like, I want to say all these words. And I'm a better Christian now, and I don't. Me and Kona got up and answered the door. And that was what I did. It's quit time.
No. I just wanted to contribute to.
I thought she was going to tell me. Come on in here and contribute.
No, I'm not prepped for camera, but you don't mention that because I think people need to hear where you were. Here. I think people need to hear where you were in that point in your life, and it was probably a year before I met him, and then he went through a whole trial during that year, in tribulation, if you want to call it that. And he found himself in a very vulnerable state. And he was at his lowest of lows. And if you know what that means, you've been there. And the lowest of lows is sometimes laying on the ground.
I was laying on the ground, just gave up. And that door, I wanted to hear that.
And one
door
of your
knock.
friends came to your house, and you had known about God, but you had always not really believed in it. You questioned it. And that man came to your house that night because you called him, and he told you.
He saved my life. He's an angel.
Yes.
Don. He knows it. And I wanted to hear.
It's something about when you fall on your knees, when you are so low, and you have gotten so low in your life, and you just feel like you can't take no more, or why is this happening to you, or my life is terrible, or the things that we tell ourselves sometimes. I'm so impressed in my heart and in my mind and in my faith that when I need him, I have to fall to my knees. And when I fell to my knees was the day that God changed my life and broke some shackles off of me that I had, that I could not break for many years. And it was the day that I went to a bar, the same day I fell to my knees. And I sat at a bar, and I looked across it, and I found him, broken as me.
Yeah, I was broke too.
I just wanted to share, people sometimes feel alone when they're low and when you're going through things and when you don't understand. And I have found that falling to my knees, literally getting on my knees, literally on your knees and praying to him and having a moment with him in your closet, in your living room, in your car. I do that every day, don't I? Yeah, he does it. But sometimes I have had it in my car where I'm just like, I need you right now. Like, I need you now. I don't have time to drop to my knees. I'm driving in traffic and I need something from you right now. He knows and he hears you. And he starts working on you, but you have to open your eyes and your ears. And the Word of God is the most important thing, and start reading it, and then having somebody help you walk through that journey, and then start learning that journey on your own.
Mm-hmm. You helped me.
You helped me.
Well, you remember when I told you, I said, we're going to go to that church and the people talk to themselves? And you were Pentecostal, and you're like, you just laughing. But the one thing about them people, they pulled the trigger on that talking tongues, and the guy said, y'all sit down, let's go talk in tongues, and they all started talking in tongues. And I was like, oh, wow, I don't know if I could do that on command. So that was Gigi Sixpack. You see her on here. She is an angel, and I was in a very bad place and alone, and I wanted to hear that knock on the door, and you will. But you got to want him like oxygen, man. Like somebody just took your air away. Like Jonah. Jonah was in the belly of the whale. He knew he was there. You read the book of Jonah. It's only like 4 pages, 4 chapters or something. And he knew that he was separated from God permanently. And he wanted him like air. And you have to want that. And you have to be on your knees, man. I get on my knees every morning. I get in the shower, and I get on my knees in the shower. I sort of like rebaptize myself every day. And I get on my knees every morning in the shower, and I pray to Lord, please, Lord, let me see this world through your eyes. Please let me, this was, because they asked Jesus, said, please let me love you with all my heart and all my soul and all my mind. And please let me love my neighbor as myself. And upon those 2 commandments hang all the law and all the prophets. So it's cool to know that you can just say those 2 commandments. And in the book of Jubilees that we're reading, it tells you to do exactly that. And it tells you to love thy neighbor, and it tells you all of these things, and it mostly tells you to honor the Sabbath. So I try to do these classes on Wednesday so that Friday at 6 o'clock, when the Sabbath begins, I want you to have already gathered a small amount of wine, a loaf of bread or some bread, and so that you've gathered it the day before the Sabbath, which is 6 o'clock on the Friday before Saturday, Sabbath being the Saturday. Now, if you're in one of those places, nobody really knows what the Sabbath is. We call it Saturday now. But if you're one of those people, I got to work on Saturday and I can't do that, then if Sunday's your day, then the day before your Sabbath, you take, not your Sabbath, the Sabbath of the Lord that you're going to be celebrating Him. That's His day. And I want you to think about it all week long. Like, hey, my Sabbath with Him is going to be on Sunday. And then I want you to, the day before, I want you to go gather your food and your things so that you can do nothing but rest in Him, and you don't have to make your meal, and you don't have to do all that stuff, and then you can celebrate your Sabbath with Him, and that's how we're going to have to put it together. And Jesus is all we have and all we need. It sure is. I tell you, I keep wanting to try to go back to my roofing. I was a large roofer, and I made a lot of money doing it, and it's hard because this is financially such a different place, and I put a lot of work into this. And I appreciate all y'all support, all of the subscribers, all of that stuff. I try to stay busy for y'all, and I haven't worn this today, but I wear this a lot. I made this little Teflon. It's called a Teflon thing, and it has a scripture in it. And a lot of people say that you are, your actions, that the mark of the beast is in your wrist or in your forehead. It's actually, the scripture says, on your wrist or on your forehead. And this little scripture right here says, God is working in you, giving you the desire to obey Him and the power to do what pleases Him. So just know that He is working in you. If you're here listening to this and you're trying to find some answers, man, you're looking for the truth, you're in the right shop, man. You're eating meat in due season right now. And if the Lord was to come back right now, we're all meeting in due season right now. Can't help but the ship model I build them. And it's wood. It's the Constitution, I think. Yeah, that's the Constitution. I did not build that. I love little things like that. That's the grandeur of the sea. That was the littlest cruise boat that is in the fleet of Royal Caribbean. It was the cheapest cruise, and we stayed at an inside cruise with a little porthole. Best cruise I ever did in my life, man. There was no crowded. There was no 5 people deep to get anywhere. And there was always plenty of seats and all that stuff. I had the best time of my life. We'll always go on those now. I don't need to go on the biggest and best anymore. I'm past all that part of my life. Do you think we'll see the 2 witnesses? I think you probably will see the 2 witnesses. There are 2 witnesses mentioned in the Bible already. But what happened?
I just wanted to tell you that I know you don't know this, but there was some big gifts sent to you tonight.
I didn't know that. Thank you very much for all the big. He doesn't know what those things mean. He don't have any idea when he sees them on the screen. Can't see them. So just hit the top 10 gifters and tell them thank you before you get off tonight. I don't know where they are. I don't know. So I guess Tracy Sim 2. Georgia P. Is this it?
Members in the live.
Members in the live.
Thank you all.
I know. I'm trying to find
We need Kate.
Randy, thank you so much.
Go here.
See them. I'm trying to find these. Team level. Live event. Y'all are so much better than me and doing this. You see what I'm saying? It's hard to do.
I don't know.
And you don't get to practice. I want to thank y'all because those gifts are what's going to keep me going. Selling these Bibles or selling these things, that's going to help me a lot. But I just want to make sure that I stay in touch with y'all. And do what?
13 more minutes, 3 hours.
3 more minutes?
13.
13. She said if I stay on for 13 more minutes, that it's a 3-hour thing and we get credit for that. So I'll stay on for 13 more minutes if y'all want me to. if y'all want me to. There's 400 people in here. It's just so crazy that this is happening right now. And I just see all these things. This guy, Peter the Roman, the prophecy of the popes, the Pope dying right after Easter, and then the Bible. So many people, you know what? The people have gotten going, the Bible doesn't say quarters, it says corner. Remember when we were just doing that with the people and I had to prove it to them? And the Bible says Easter, and it says that they were going to put to death James. They put to death James, the brother of John, the sons of thunder, and James and John. And they saw that it pleased the Jews, and that they were going to do the same thing. Y'all hit that. Y'all hit the 500K thing, and I'll help. I'll push too. And they said that they were going to do the same thing to Peter after Easter. It says it right there in Acts, the book of Acts 12. Books of Acts 12, man. That just, people are going, it does not say Easter in the Bible. Is there anybody else that want to say that? Because I surely could bust you up on that one very quickly. I love it when people go, it does not. If I read that, you can say, and people go, what Bible do you use? I use the brutal old King James Bible, the dude that used to be a Freemason, the one that's in almost everybody's hands, that one we were designed to all pretty much have, that he wrote a version of the Bible and not a translation. He didn't translate anything. He probably couldn't even talk good. And he was just a stupid old Freemason that has a version of the Bible that they literally would have said, I'm walking down the street, and in the old English it would have said, I walketh down the streeteth, and in another version they would have said, and I walk down the street. So all he did was clean up some old English and take some of the long words out of it. But he didn't change anything, so just know that. And then in Acts chapter 12, verse 4, and then he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to the 4 quintillions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. It's going to be that word right there, Easter. There's a lot of people. Easter's not in there. Did I get any of those? I might have missed it. Thank you so much for the gifts. I see all these gifts, and gosh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I need that. Is there any verses? I've got we did that Revelations 20 thing, and I just kicked on that so good. And I love the fact that people are now starting to read it knowing that there's a 2,000-year period, the first resurrection, and then there's the little season, and then there's the second death. The first resurrection is 1,000 years, and then the second death is the 1,000 years too. And we are about 2,000 years. We're about 7.5 years away from 2,000 years of the devil being locked up. And people, say, you don't know the day. No man knows the day or the time when Jesus will return. Know that. It says right here in Revelation 20 that the devil was locked away for 1,000 years, released for a little season, and locked away again for 1,000 years. And when that happened, that was in 33 AD when Jesus Christ was crucified. And it says that this was the first resurrection. And it says that the dead got out of the ground, and when Jesus did in Matthew 27:52. So just know that earth did quake, and that happened. But you've got this 2,000-year period, and we're about 7.5 years away from that. And the Pope just died the day after Easter, and there's supposedly the last Pope is coming in place. And according to this prophecy of the popes that was written in 1400, and this Pope is going to lead his church through many tribulations. And then this guy that is the front runner named Peter to be the Pope, his family crest says, who are we without Christ, and go through the tribulations and what have you. So it's just I don't know, man, if you don't smell it. And, the Bible doesn't say 7-year tribulation. It says 3.5 years twice. So just know that we could be through a first 3.5 or 4 years, and then the next 3.5 could be troublesome. So I don't know, man. I don't want to. I want to be a watchman on the wall. I am a watchman on the wall. I sit there and just tell people, "Hey, I see something." But a watchman, a good watchman, is going to stay on the wall and sound the alarm and say, "I see something right outside the wall." A bad watchman is going to jump off the wall, go down there and go, "Hey, man, are you going to kill me?" And if they said yeah and they killed him, then nobody's there to blow the trumpet. So the person that blows the trumpet has to stay on the wall. And they would have to watch the whole fight and have to watch the whole city and have to watch the whole thing go down. And it's sort of hard watching all of that. A lot of times the watchmen in the Bible and all, you read that they had to watch that. I would hate to be in the tower watching the Great Tribulation and all I could do was go, run, but a watchman or a person that plays a trumpet back in Jerusalem. And thank you so much for hitting it, 500K. The people that would watch in Jerusalem, the watchmen, they would blow the trumpet. If they were coming from the west, they would play a certain note. If they were coming from the east, they would play a different note. And they would tell them when the enemy was coming. And then if the king said, "Rally the troops and get them on the so-and-so wall," then they would play another notes and other notes to tell the army which way to go and what to do. So the trumpet, the guy that's blowing the trumpet, would aware them of where the attack was coming from and what they were doing through musical notes, and then he would tell the troops that were on the king's side what to do and how to man the walls, and hey, they're knocking down this wall, all literally by playing these songs in the trumpet and whatever they would do. And but people give me some static and say, "Hey, are you trying to prophesy something?" No, I'm blowing a trumpet, man. When you blow the trumpet, then they're supposed to send a messenger to go out and go identify the cause. And those are specifically trained people that are armed and they're ready for any type of imminent danger and they're ready to address the situation and bring the message back to the king. Now, if the guy that's watching the woods and watching all this stuff, if he were to stop doing that and go do that, you're going to get attacked. You're going to get flanked. So I'm not going to walk off the wall, and I'm not going to be able to identify all the way down to a thing, but I am going to blow the trumpet and tell you that this thing happened. And the Pope did die right after Easter, and these things are happening. And I mean, if you don't smell it in the air, and the purple and the pearls and the doggy, we're all going through it. With those tribulations, there's the seals that are broken, which I think we done broke a couple of them. And then there are the trumpets that are blown in the year of the Jubilee, maybe. And then after the trumpets are blown, which are the announcements, then the bowls of the tribulation are poured out onto mankind. And that is the tribulation. So I do feel like the first half of the tribulation, it doesn't say 7 years, it says 3.5 years twice. I feel like the first half of the tribulation is going to be a buildup, and then the second half of it is when the bowls are actually poured out. But I feel like that's coming. Jesus Christ was crucified in 33 AD, and it locked the devil away in Revelation 20 for 1,000 years. He was released for a little season, and then he went back. But remember, the rest of the dead yet live again. So when he got out for the little season, 1,000 years, all the rest of the dead live again. And it's right there in verse 5, Revelation 20, verse 5. And they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead yet lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. So after the 1,000 years were finished, the rest of the dead yet live again. So I think like 144,000 people got out of the ground and walked and lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. It says it in Matthew 27, verse 52, that the rocks did rent, the ground opened, and the graves of many saints were opened, and the bodies of many saints walked through the city streets of Jerusalem and were seen by many. So just know that happened, right? And it says on his resurrection. It also says that the sky departed like a scroll and the moon turned to blood. And on April 3rd of 33 AD, go right to your computer and Google it, there was an eclipse that turned a blood moon and there was an earthquake. And that is all right there on the Jordan River Valley Fault. So that happened in Jerusalem, and that's one of the largest fault lines in the world right there. Look at that. And that's the Dead Sea. That's 1,800 feet below sea level. So there's the sea, and there's 1,800 feet below sea level right there. All right. So there was an earthquake on April 3rd of 33 AD, right there. And a blood moon, and it would have been Passover, and the rocks did rent, and the ground did split open. I see you, Bonner Roofing. Who is that? Hey, that is me. That's my roofing company right there. I'm Bonner Roofing Company. That was me. I was the fifth largest roofer in the state of Florida, and I re-roofed 69 of the 85 schools. And, my sons, they're running the company, or he's running the company right now, and AJ just does a super great job. He's amazing. But I want to help the young guys on here too, man. I know so much about roofing and arguing with insurance companies that on my webpage, I'm going to start copying some of my things that I best used with arguing with the insurance companies. And I'll put all those Xactimate pages and templates and stuff like that. And I will absolutely give those to you, because I think we should be learning together for 6 days a week. And I could be making one of my Bibles or printing something for you, and I could be telling you that stuff. And I would love to train any of those people. Again, I put the roof on the Orlando International Airport, all of it, except for 2 parts of the building on Airside 4. And I did 69 of the 85 schools. I just speak roofing so well that I would love to tell you what I've learned, that I made millions of dollars doing. And I would love for you to build it all up and do that. In the course of time, my son, he has access to my crews and all that stuff, and we put the roof on anything, one better. We got on a roof the other day that I put on in 1999, and it was Astronaut High School. If you've ever been going down 95 and you see Astronaut High School off the side of 95, y'all ever see that? I did it. And I put it on in 1999, and me and AJ got it there. He's 26 years old, and that roof was 26 years old. Yeah, AJ's having a baby too. And he got on, and he got up there, and that roof looked good. And I put that roof on 26 years ago. It was only supposed to last 20 years. But I love y'all. I love y'all. I've gotten so far off subject. Now I'm talking about roofing. But you know what? I just love being with y'all, and I would love to teach all these things. It is the Jubilee year. Next Wednesday, you're going to trip out on the class for next Wednesday. I will try to incorporate, before next week, the book of Enoch 1. We're doing that. We're going to do the book of Enoch 1 and the book of Gad. Bro, we're going to do the book of Gad, man. I'm reading that book of Gad to you. But I'm doing it like I do all my study guides. And it's got all of the little pictures of where the Gihon Springs came out of the eastern gate, and where Hezekiah sealed that up. And it's all the first visions of Gad. And he talks about right here, man, where he's standing in the streams of the Gihon right outside the city eastern gates. I'm telling you something. Arlo is ready for his dad. That was the Q sign right there, because I do everything my wife tells me to do. I love y'all so much, and thank y'all for bearing with me. And Arlo, I'm coming to bed. I love y'all. In Jesus' name, have a